Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, I appreciate that. You did the thing.
I took the intro this time, yeah. Well, I mean, I think about that all the time with the Game Shed, too. It's like, man, he says it all the time first.
You know,
Sometimes he points to me. I don't know.
Contrary to popular belief, I'm a fan of when the co-host does it.
Well, I mean, you just typically drive a lot more. Same thing with ending episodes. Like, I would love to end episodes, like, way more.
Yeah.
But I always have to do it based on, like, is it around here? Am I getting the read right?
Yeah, it's kind of my position. Can you kill my cat? He's eating May's food again. And I can introduce what we're doing today. Or just put him in my room if he does that again.
He walked away. I got something to throw at him. Nothing, like... Okay, nothing big, okay? It's just something...
No, it's like, a kitty laser.
Yeah, it's a laser, like a pencil. Like
to throw next to him.
If I hit him, it's not going to be that hard. It's not like I'm going to, like, fucking lean into it. It's just like... You can take it.
Guys.
Anyways.
Yeah, so...
Hello, welcome to the Shedheads podcast.
Dark Souls, a podcast. Hardest one to listen to.
I feel like it's been getting increasingly better to listen to. Like, last episode, I'm chuffed with. I think that was the most organized and, like, clearly thought episodes that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we didn't tread over any old ground. I don't know. It was good stuff. But that's sadly not going to happen here, I feel like.
No, okay.
Here it's going to be kind of scattered. It's going to be real weird because today we're talking about Under the Skin and SLC Punk.
Yeah.
Not in that order, though.
No, in that order. In that order.
I did it. I did it without even realizing it. I'm getting better at this sort of thing.
Great. And there's no reason we can't just jump into it. I don't think. You all set to go? Ready to strap in?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say. I was like, what was any preamble, all that? As I guess a disclaimer,
we're on Spotify now.
That's a disclaimer.
And your thing. And your thing.
Yeah, be careful. Yeah. So my disclaimer is that this week has been relatively busy. And last night was like a really long day for me, and I had to watch both movies in this not back to back like directly, but it was in the same day.
Mm-hmm.
It was within like a couple hours of each other, and I was like already pretty mentally like tired.
Right.
So if I don't have like the strongest points or argumentation or anything like that, please forgive me. But I'll do my best as always.
Hooray.
But just like, yeah, keeping that in mind, as I don't have like really strong formed opinions on either is the thing.
Strange. Okay. That's new.
Why you're kind of going to be driving here.
Which is interesting because that means it'll be a shorter one. Because I wouldn't say I've got entire spreadsheets for either of these either. But
it'll still make for a good discussion.
Yeah, I wrote some notes.
There's some interesting stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
These movies are a lot more alike than I thought.
Okay.
That's really fucking jarring to say.
Right, okay.
Oh, that's something like, yeah, that's something to open up with.
I didn't know if you were making a meme with that, but if you aren't, then do tell when the time comes. Everybody, let's get into...
Okay, I don't mean that like they're like really identical. They're just like some aspects where it's just like like this is something I've seen before. I don't know. You'll see.
Huh, okay.
We'll get there, I guess.
Let's do it. Under the Skin. Your film.
I was totally gonna say. So starting with SLC Punk.
No. I already told you once.
Yeah, I know.
This podcast.
I'm just fucking dumb. Is the thing.
Jonathan Glazer, starring Scarlett Johansson. This film came out in 2013, 36 years after Eraserhead, of course.
Wow.
And takes place in Scotland.
That's quite a while. You know what was funny is like I was just going through Facebook, you know, which I should stop doing because it hurts my brain. But I just saw like this video that was like, oh, here are some movies that are turning 20 in 2018. And I was like, okay, cool. And
from 1998. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, okay. Wow.
Here are movies that came out in 1998.
Like, wow, like this is content here. Like, wow, like, oh my gosh. So here's some albums that are turning 20. It's like, I don't know.
So I'd like to also point out about this movie.
Eraserhead came out like,
77.
Yeah. Which is
36 years ago.
No, it wasn't. It was 36 years from 2013. 36
years. Yeah, you're right.
I was trying to do the math, so it's been
you're right.
40,
Yeah.
It's been
no,
44.
It's 36 years before this movie. You fucked me up, man.
Yeah, you fucked up. It's 44 now.
Yeah.
But I did.
Hey, and this is episode 44. It all comes together. Illuminati. Cool.
Oh, that was some good delivery. Let's see. Yeah, I watched the 2019 Ultra HD version
Okay. Yeah, me too.
because I was just like, oh, is there a different? The description is a little bit different.
UHD.
It says in one of them a seductive woman, and then the other one is a voluptuous woman.
A voluptuous. I saw that as
I
well.
was just like, huh.
Did you notice that this movie is rated like 2.5 or 3 or 3.5 something on Amazon?
Yeah, I know.
But like literally every other movie I've ever seen on Amazon, it's like 5 stars, 5, 4.5, 5. Like everyone loves every movie on there except this.
It's almost like a lot of Amazon reviewers don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
As is illustrated by the cast ripping into like the really dumb reviews of The Boys season 1.
The cast?
Yeah, like the entire cast of it is just making fun of them. I mean, like yes, they deserve to be, but some of them like actually there's like a point like hidden in there, and they don't address it. They just make fun of them.
Oh, I don't know.
So
What
like
you're What's
both
the
sides
cast?
are really dumb, huh?
What's the cast?
No, the cast of The Boys.
Making fun of their own show?
No, they're making fun of Amazon reviews.
Oh,
of the really?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, I haven't seen that.
Okay. Yeah. I want to recommend.
I was very
watching
confused by that statement. Okay.
I wouldn't recommend watching. It comes off as really condescending.
Okay.
Yeah, like it makes both sides are just really trash. In that, it's just not a good thing all around.
Tangenty.
Yeah, speaking
today,
of which, though,
under the skin.
okay.
Okay. A 2016 study actually found that viewing this film is shown to be 2% more effective than condoms as a birth control method, with only abstinence topping its effectiveness. Can you believe it?
There was a review of that.
No, I made it up.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Why this movie?
Because of how this movie plays out. You're confused? Did you watch the movie?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
No, yeah, this is why it's going to be like really scattered. Okay, no,
Okay.
I get it. Because I didn't think like I don't know, when you make a joke like that, I thought, oh, it's like a really virgin-y like movie, like watching a Weezer movie, a Weezer documentary.
Okay.
But
right.
no, it's the too scared part. Like now women,
spooked.
now beautiful women terrify me.
Mm-hmm. So I've talked a fair amount about the movie now, and we've talked about other stuff. So if you want to say anything about the movie, go for it. Okay.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing with this. It's like, what can I say about this movie?
There's a lot, I think. What did you think of the movie?
That's the thing. What do I think?
Huh.
I'm not completely sure. I mean, I think I like it. If that's what you want, like,
Right.
out of me.
Huh.
I think I like it.
It's so strange to me that you don't have, like, I'm gonna be real with you. I thought you were gonna come into this and be like, this is my new favorite movie. Like, that's what I expected. This seems like something that would hit you like that.
I feel like I'm mixed overall, actually.
This is
But I think it's a net. I like it.
Right?
I don't love it though. I'm not like completely enamored with it, but it's definitely like a unique like visual experience. You know, I keep tossing the shit around, but it's what that actually is. You know, I'm not gonna say movies like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is a fucking unique visual experience.
Right.
I mean, it is, but like, you know, at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. You know, like, it's not really gonna stick in your head like this movie is. I think
this one did stick with me. I almost didn't rewatch it, and
like
I saw it a couple months ago. But
yeah, and I think the name is reflective of that. Like, the movie is trying to get under your skin,
absolutely,
and like stay there and all that shit.
But
was definitely not expecting what I got out of this.
No.
After watching the movie, you know what? I'm gonna say after the first like 20 minutes, I was like, oh fuck, what I get myself into.
This is so weird. So did you not love it because it unsettled you, or is it something else?
No. That'd be stupid.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that's not.
You wouldn't catch me dead like saying that.
That's what I thought.
If I did,
So,
if I do say that, please slap me.
I am a little confused. Then,
Well, I
if you
guess
wanna
there's
get
more
into
like
that.
to unpack. It's very like abstract, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect what I got out of this, though I didn't know what I was expecting. I knew it was going to be like sci-fi and horror-y.
Isn't this? You've heard that this is a great movie from a lot of sources, apparently.
Yeah,
That's why you recommended it. Yeah.
But it wasn't like talked about overwhelmingly so. It was just like oh yeah, this, and then Scarlett Johansson. Okay, I'll put this here. There's a couple other movies that I heard that about. I guess like some of the movies are like passingly but consistently like, oh, this is good, you should watch it. That's the ones that's going to be like, oh yeah, here. But if people are like, oh, you should see the new Star Wars movie, like, and I keep hearing that over and over again, I'm just going to be like, no.
Right.
I mean, not because I guess it's popular.
This movie, yeah, it's very well liked among, critics and I would say like YouTube movie reviewers and that of the sort, but apparently not by Amazon viewers.
Well, I'm not gonna say much on that,
right?
Other than like Amazon reviewers don't really have the largest brain when it comes to that.
Okay.
Products, sure. I mean, but it's easy to rate a product on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure there are good movie reviews on Amazon, like genuinely, but usually Letterboxd is much better. I mean, you'll get the meme reviews like there are for this one that just like give you nothing, like no substance at all.
Meme review.
Yeah, they're like,
yeah, the top
it's
one
like
was a
oh, what? Yeah,
the
it's
top
like,
one.
What? I don't get it. Like,
I read it. I read that one. It's just like a long little back and forth story, and that's like, yeah, I'm just trying to get likes on my comment.
It's just like, hey, this is cute. I mean, there's also the review that's like, fuck knows.
Hey, that green one.
That's funny, but I'm like, what does that give me?
That green one's Karsten. What did he say about it?
The green one?
Yeah, this is the one that's all green.
That one.
I think that's Karsten, right?
He didn't. Oh wait.
Is that?
It's a.
Oh, he said a lot. Okay, never mind.
It's not a lot. It's 4 paragraphs.
Yeah. Okay.
I actually read this other review on it. I mean, you've probably seen it. This one.
No, I only read the meme one.
Okay, I read this longer one here. That's several paragraphs. It's twice as long as what you just reacted to.
Sure.
And I think I completely agree with this review.
What do they think of it? They don't know how they feel.
Well, like I don't want to just read off someone else's review and be like, "Yep, this is it," because I completely agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could because I agree with it, but like it's not coming out of my mouth,
Sure. Well, I do have notes. Mostly my notes are on the sound and visual department.
I definitely remember that score still.
Yeah.
I fucking heard that shit when I was driving my way
in
over
your dreams,
here.
yeah.
It's just so yeah. There's a lot of there's a lot of Lynch, Kubrick.
I could see that
in here
because there's definitely some Kubrick.
Well, yeah. With the music, especially the seductive nature of
the visual,
how the woman is portrayed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it's very reminiscent of the woman in the bathtub.
Right.
As well as the soundtrack. Like you've seen The Shining recently.
Yep.
So like it's a lot like the heartbeat thumping, like the really eerie, scratchy violins going up.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound like a familiar violin. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah, and it plays every time. Instead of the heartbeat, though, it's like bongos, like
right. Okay, I've got like more
or congas. Yeah.
I guess like since you're on the sound, I should just go to that note, because I took a paragraph on the sound, saying that this film consistently uses music or a lack of music to its advantage. Scenes like the introduction, or when someone is being preyed on, because let's say what this movie's about. I guess this is all over the place.
Yeah, I realized when you were getting to that, I was like, oh, we didn't do synopsis. But I didn't want to interrupt you.
So there's this alien.
Right?
Yeah. This alien that is a seductress. Not really. She actually doesn't do much, which we'll get into, I guess. But she essentially feeds on the lust of horny men.
Well, it's not like clear whether she feeds on it. She just like she hunts them essentially. Yes. Like it's the same way of like, how a siren works.
Right.
And not like, the woo sirens. I mean like the the what is it? The fucking the folklore of the women on the beaches luring different sailors away from where they need to be.
And she does
murdering them. That's basically what she's doing, but more like out of the daily out of just everyone's day-to-day lives.
Daily dose of meme.
It's just at random, or people that are alone.
Yeah, so she preys on these men by By being a woman with a woman body and luring them in like they're gonna have the sex, and then some strange stuff happens. So all that to say, when one of those scenes in question is happening, they are, hang on, what did I say? Accompanied by a loud, uncomfortable, imposing score, and then at other scenes there's no sound at all, and I found that very effective. When did I? Okay, my fucking cat, dude.
He's like a bunny. He just flew right up all over me.
Did you notice what I'm talking about? There's a couple points in this film where it just sucks out all the sound, and you're just looking at a very kind of uncanny visual, and it's
yes,
very like
it does it visually as well.
under your skin.
That's why I said it's a lot like Lynch in that it utilizes the mundane and the macabre.
Mm-hmm. Right. We
get a lot of uninteresting long shots of the woman just driving around or just kind of looking and observing things and just people walking, just the mundanity of life. But you also get like these really surrealistic avant-garde type of visuals.
Yeah, there's a cool thing about that.
It's a balance, and it serves to contrast the two different tones and all that.
Right. Did you know? Well, fuck, I don't know. I guess I'll just get there. What do I have? Back to the sound. Just at other points, mostly the score is just kind of an eerie ringing, like a string.
Boom, boom. Yeah.
When she makes her first kill,
it does that every time too, to like as a motif or leitmotif.
Yeah, and the first kill though, we get that percussive ticking, like the heartbeat kind of thing, and then the shrill strings come in into the mix, and it's kind of just that cacophony, to take your word from The Shining, of strings and uncomfortable noises, kind of mixed with these uncanny and abstract visuals, kind of define this movie in your memory. Like this is why I didn't feel like I needed to watch it again, because a lot of this stuff just stuck with me. And also we get Darude Sandstorm.
Oh yeah, we get Darude Sandstorm. Yeah. I thought that was funny.
That's what really matters. Yeah. That's my notes on the sound.
Yeah, I was actually really annoyed when Darude Sandstorm came on.
Oh, I loved it.
I was like, oh, fucking this song really movie. You couldn't think of any other better like techno song to play in a club.
Yeah, I don't know. Was Darude Sandstorm already tired by 2013? I don't know.
I forgot it was 2013. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I just don't like the song. There's I'm not pointing out a flaw with it or anything.
Sure.
But I don't think cacophony of sounds is an accurate descriptor. It's avant-garde like, but it's not like it's not just nonsense. It's not noise.
I think at the beginning I would use that word.
The beginning. Well, I think that's like more static, isn't it? I don't remember like specifically. I was focusing more on the visuals and like what was happening.
There's a few noises going on there.
I really did like the beginning though. Though I was like, is the movie playing? Because it was at a black screen for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we get like basically like an eye forming, and then the woman is going through a bunch of different bunch of different what the fuck's the word for it? I took a speech class, god damn it. Or I took lots of speech classes. Fuck. Just a bunch of different.
When she's learning English, is that what you're talking about?
Well, it's like she's going ta ba.
Yeah.
Dava, like fava, all that stuff. Like saying all these different articulators or whatever, and like periodically like adding vowels, and then the words is basically kind of like a robot initializing itself is what I felt like.
Yeah.
Where it was like testing all of the different things of the mouth to actually be able to speak, because she was doing like related articulators. That's the best word I have for it.
Right.
Like t and duh are the same like sound. It's just one is breath and one you vote.
Yeah.
I said this before.
Yeah.
Because I find this shit so interesting, but like apparently it's like one of the most mundane subjects ever. Because every time I talk about it, people are just like, okay. when are you gonna talk about something interesting? But like, I don't know, I just like that detail, and that's definitely what I felt as though it was. It definitely felt like a robot was initializing itself, like preparing.
Well, yeah, and then she, it was a little. I was a little confused because what I thought was happening after that is she, because it's that completely white place. When she takes the clothes off the girl on the floor, I thought that was Scarlett Johansson. Like I thought she was taking her skin and becoming her. Like I thought that's what was happening there. Like using her as a disguise. I'm glad we both thought that.
I actually didn't think that. I just thought that was Scarlett Johansson, but just because I didn't like, I guess I forgot what she looked like for a minute. I just had the two actresses mixed up.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just noticed that it was a different actress, and I was like, oh, then what is happening in that scene?
Maybe it's the same face then, just like
I don't know,
different build. Yeah, I found that scene to be interesting to say the least. I didn't fully grasp though what was actually going on there.
Mm-hmm.
What I believe was happening was like, yeah, she takes her skin and uses it as a disguise.
Yeah,
but it's like an otherworldly place. So like this woman like already died, so her taking the clothes is like, a reincarnation.
Sure.
In a way. And yeah, I just found it like just a really interesting scene because like after all the clothes were like, taken off of the lady on the floor, like you just see her crying, but like her face isn't moving at all.
Right. Well, on that note, we could get into visuals.
Strong like visual indicator.
Because that's already that's already a very powerful visual. I think it's very uncomfortable. Just whenever there's a scene like that, because there's a lot of them in here, with the clear or with the fully white or black backgrounds or whatever, the solid block backgrounds. So it kind of goes between, like you said, the mundane and the like kind of extraordinary abstract kind of visuals, where we do see her driving around like just in a van in Scotland, and there's like a fly on the wall kind of feel to it. It feels like very natural in a stark contrast to the surreal and abstract nature of the other shots. And I looked into it, and it's likely because much of this cast is actually made up of people with no prior acting experience, and hidden cameras were used for some scenes. So
that's what I figured, because there was a lot of people just walking around.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reviews pointed out that it's interesting to like see one of like the largest icons of beauty and just sex of our generation,
Hollywood, and
being Scarlett Johansson, just walking around going unnoticed in a very public place.
Yeah,
it's just like oh wow.
Right, it's pretty neat.
Like I definitely just didn't think that like, oh yeah, these are all actors, like for background people. Like these are like, just people,
just dudes,
like,
and girls.
I don't know.
Right. So that's a pretty neat fact about the movie, and I guess you don't know which is which. So you can kind of tell that some of these people just sound more rough and natural, like a person.
Well, I meant in terms of like appearance, like how they're walking and all that.
Yeah.
And like how they're dressed. Like these definitely are just like regular everyday people.
Yeah.
Compared to like
movie actors.
like the background people where like they were all kind of dressed in a very similar way,
Yeah.
Or like there's actually like attention like put with that, and it always doesn't feel quite on the same level as reality, because there is that manipulation happening there. But it was clear like these are all people just kind of doing their own thing because of all like the visual chaos that's happening when it shows like her walking around in everyday life. Not everyone is gonna like, for example, like if you're on a plane or something, not everyone is just gonna be like, looking down in one direction, like on their phone or switch or whatever.
Right.
Like other people are gonna be doing other things. Just conversations gonna be happening. It's all gonna become just like this white noise type of thing.
Jarble. I get what you mean.
And normally there's like a lot of space between like the main character and the rest of the people to like give more visual clarity and all that. Like what comes to mind is Before Sunset. when they're in the coffee shop. Like they have this own isolated table,
Mhm.
And a lot of the other background people are just blurred. If it were a real coffee shop, there'd be like so much white noise, like just people walking around, just doing other things.
Right.
Like there'd be a lot more mayhem going on, I guess.
And
That was a lot of detail talk about like how this just is like, oh yeah, this is like regular people.
it's like a natural feeling, natural setting. It's it works to its uncomfortability, though, I think.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, part of that is definitely because of the times we were in.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, a crowd of people in a mall. Yeah, I don't miss that.
That's funny too. I didn't even think of that.
and also, with the club, I was just like, a crowd of people.
Very relevant. Is that how this is like SLC Punk?
What? Or that there's a concert?
That there's crowds of people.
I guess.
At the beginning, so I cited as one of the abstract visuals the beginning with the white kind of otherworldly place we talked about already. And obviously the whatever it is when she makes a kill and the room just becomes this completely black kind of vortex.
I think that's that is a very like on the nose visual metaphor, like white meaning life and reincarnation and black being death.
Sure.
That's a pretty like standard, I guess, visual rhetoric for theater and all that.
Yeah, it looks very, very good in this movie, I think. And it's just
one thing
it is so uncanny because in real life there aren't rooms like that. Like a room can be dark, but it doesn't look like that. A room can be white, but it doesn't look like that.
Vast emptiness is the thing. Like there are no walls. It just seems to stretch on forever. Like it's a void. It's an abyss.
Yeah, the closest thing I've actually seen to a room like that is when we did that one escape room. The one that was all white.
The all white one.
And it was just so uncanny.
That's funny.
To be in there.
I've been referring to the all black.
Right.
Unis honest.
Mm.
Yeah. The all black room made me think like, oh no, I'm gonna have to fight. The four kings are gonna show up. It's a Dark Souls joke, guys.
Yeah.
Well, you know the four kings,
and she's got the all you get in that void is the reflection on the floor.
Yes.
Yeah. The top down reflection. And also in here we get, of course, the visual of these men falling into this black pool under the floor, and it looks terrifying.
Yeah, because it's just a void.
Right.
And they seem to just float on forever like it's almost space. One thing I do love though about the kills themselves while we're on this is that every time she does it, we learn a bit more about what happens.
Yeah.
Like we see them get sucked in the first time, and she's like, "Oh fuck, where do they go?" And then like next time we see like them underneath.
Yeah, which I was about to talk to because I think that's maybe the best scene in the movie, in my opinion. When we see what happens to her victims under the floor, I said is the most unsettling. That's the word of the day, I guess. Scene of all for me, and I think a lot of people would agree. People just kind of pop like a balloon and then shrivel into just skin and hair, and then
visually, yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
That is the most visually unnerving part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't agree that's the most visual. Not visually. I wouldn't
arresting.
agree that it is the most uncomfortable scene in the movie, though. I believe it's second.
Okay, well, you'll have to tell me what you think is. Maybe it's something that I skipped over.
No, it's later. It's near the end.
Yeah, I did. I started skipping more towards the end. I actually watched like the first 40 minutes just straight through today, and then I started skipping through to remember like key events.
Right.
The scene is first aided by deafening silence, and then followed by foreboding strings, like when they go under. And it's just all sound is sucked out of it. It's very effective, I think.
Also, the effects of the guy popping like a balloon is just so like fucking holy hell, like, and just that is not that like
they just look like bloated and then they pop.
That is not like raw CGI. Like I'm certain of that. Like it's definitely like assisted, but like I don't know. And it was just so unexpected too.
Shit looks so good.
You get all like this really prolonged like pieces of information that's all silent. And then, like, the guy is, like, slowly drifting away, and then, like, a jump scare, he just, like, deflates all of a sudden.
Right.
It is played by a sound, like he was impacted by something.
Yeah, like
Which
we hear like a drum hit in the.
Yeah, I feel like I could do without.
And then we've got the strings in. No, I was cool with that.
We had strings too.
Yep.
Okay, I thought it was just like a pop and that was it. Like it went back to silence.
It was like a pop and then the strings.
I guess
from
it is fine since you did pop, given the sound.
Sure. What did you think was the most uncomfortable scene? I don't see any reason not to go there. Because my other notes are just kind of more towards the end.
Well, at the very end when she's in the forest and
okay.
goes to sleep and then wakes up with the guy like forcing himself on her.
Right. Okay.
Found that to be like just a realistic depiction of that.
Yeah. Which I've got because the rest of my notes were towards the end. The first half or more of this movie kind of is this recurring. It gets a little repetitive, I guess you could say, because she's just kind of finding a guy, bringing him to this place, and it changes a little every time, until she finds this. How do I say, disfigured man.
The elephant man.
that is
the elephant man.
Well, careful, because that is a real dude with no CGI.
No,
yeah. And
I mean, I figured, but I was like, I feel like I don't know. I could have gone either way.
I don't have his name down here, but yeah, we're not going to comment on him and his appearance, but in this movie, he plays a pretty integral role.
I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like when I saw him, first of all, when he was disfigured, when he was like concealed by the hood,
right?
At first, like also given my TV isn't the best when it comes to dark lighting.
Right.
It definitely just looked like he didn't have an eye, or that was like CGI'd out, like blurred, like how the faces are in Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah,
I will say that was unnerving as fuck.
I will say there could be CGI. I said no CGI. I don't know, but I did see his real face, and that's what he looks like. So
yeah, but I had the same reaction as the joke in when early Game Grumps played a Pokemon game. I forgot which one it was. I think it was Fire Red or something.
Oh God, yeah,
and yeah, with JonTron,
JonTron.
Yeah, no, when they named their character Fuck Eye, like as if like you're super ugly.
Jesus.
They're like the Fuck Eye. Yeah, that was my reaction to him.
Oh, Fuck Eye. Okay, yeah. I get you. Okay.
Like as soon as I saw his face, I was like, "Fuck Eye." Like, I mean, I guess it's not that bad. It was just more like a.
Well, the actor's been in other movies since this, and this kind of opened him up for that, so that's awesome.
It got the reaction out of me that I'm assuming was the intent.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So that part of the movie falls under like the interp phase, I guess, because it was kind of he's the first one that she doesn't.
Well, yeah, I just felt so fucking sorry for him, like throughout. Yeah. Like I was just like, man, she's really gonna kill him.
He's this really sweet man. He basically is like
I got so fucking sad when she was like, oh, I have a place like a bit away, and then he says nothing, but like it just shows him pinching himself.
This is also kind of the first person that she's like, he's not being like, you're so pretty, God,
like fawning over her,
like, fuck. Like he's not doing that. She's actually the one who's like
seeking him out.
Yeah.
And
right.
I want to say antagonizing, but like definitely pushing it.
Yeah, and
I just don't have the better word for that.
And he's the only one up until this point that she doesn't kill. He doesn't pop like a balloon.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course he wanted her, but like, it's clear that I don't know. You look at him, you get the scene with him, and you totally understand what he's all about. And I just felt so fucking sorry for him.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I guess to get to that, that's on my interp of the movie, which I didn't really have one. I feel like when I first watched this movie, I had an interpretation, and then I kind of said, like, this time I was kind of like, I don't know. And then I was just seeing online what other people think. Some writer made this about, like immigration and racism and stuff.
Of course they would. Of course.
Well,
I feel like, of course, I was honestly anticipating like people reviewing this movie being like, this movie is so misogynistic and yada yada.
No, kind of the opposite. Which I kind of liked that interp, which is why I wrote it down. I don't remember who. It's on the Wikipedia page. Someone said it's like commonly seen that this movie is like flipping the script, where women are usually preyed on sexually by men. In this film, men are kind of literally haunted by this woman. And she preys on those men who see her as just like, oh, hey baby, want to fuck? You're so pretty.
But that's exactly the reason why, like, some not mentally able people are gonna say that it's misogynistic, because it's gonna try to say, like, they're gonna push the narrative like, oh, this movie's trying to say that that all women do is seek men out just to hurt them and blah blah blah. Like this, like, totally. I mean, it's like that. If people say that, it's SJW and Anceli at the same time. That would be amazing.
No, so I was gonna say my original understanding of this movie seems to be pretty far off base from what anyone else says, because it's kind of like a personal interpretation. I see it as like there's just hey baby, let's fuck, and then like she kills them every time. Then when there's this guy, it's like it's not just like hey baby, let's fuck. It's like kind of more sweet and innocent. There's something a little more to it. And then like he doesn't get killed. And then, as we know, after this point in the movie, she seemingly, goes through this change and she tries to just find someone to be human.
There's an arc. That's what you're describing.
Yeah.
Like, that's not really an interpretation. It's more like an observation of what happens. So
right. But but it is an interpretation when you apply the kind of the emotion behind it, of like it's saying like this sex without the like passion or emotional side of it.
There's a word for that.
Lust, with like that is just I don't even know how to put it into words, but when we see she eventually wants love, like not just the lust aspect of it, and then that's treated differently in the film.
Right, and like that's like reflective of her arc.
Yeah, and
I think it's more. It would be more interpretation to try to attach a motive that she has. That would be because like that we never know. So it would only be interpretation to like to try to speculate of what her motive is.
Right, and like. To me, it's like sex without emotion is like this void, and then sex with love and shit. It's like beautiful.
So like you attaching that, that's interpretation.
That's like interpretation.
Attaching the themes to the visual rhetoric. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like something that personally like resonates with me. So that's like how I read this movie the first time I watched it, because it's lust and then it's this void and death and all this shit. And then she wants something like more passionate and emotional. It's love. She wants love, not just the lust. She's not feeding on the lust of this man that we get. But he's still in the
black void of the room, which you like assign lust to. But the man isn't feeling particularly lustful.
Are you talking about the disfigured man?
Yeah.
Because I'm talking about the man after that. After the disfigured man, that seems to be like when she had this change of heart. She gets to know this other guy in the last act of the film.
Right. But
and it's like a totally tone shift for the last act. And it's like she wants to be human.
The tone is still the same. It's still like really drawn out shots. It's just not as much of the macabre.
Yeah, it's like she wants.
Or the
she wants to
visuals.
be like, she wants these human attributes of falling in love, I guess. And we get a sex scene towards the end that isn't this black void. It's like a sex scene, but her body rejects it, much like it rejects cake when she tries to do human things like eat or have human sex.
That's a good observation.
Yeah, like so I took that as I don't know. It's so like,
So
to say it out loud, it sounds like I hate sex because you see.
Now we have a clip of you saying that.
I hate sex. But, well, it like, you can see how I could interpret that because it's like, this is inhuman. There's a void and blah, blah, blah.
Look.
When it's lust. And then when it's love, then, like, they get in the bed and it's like a real sex scene until you know what happens. So that's a hole in that
You really
theory.
didn't come across that way until, like, you said it as if it were. It's just literally, like, you were picking at, like, oh, this is what things are, this is the meaning I've attached to them, and like this is what happens. Like, you're pretty consistent. So
Right, but
you just said you happen to like resonate with that, which is fine.
right. Do you,
Like, yeah, and you're
Yeah.
not coming across that way is what I'm trying to reassure you.
well, I'm glad I don't. But
But for the record, yeah, he does hate sex. I already know
oh,
that.
I hate sex. No. But no, like, just because it seems like such a what is the word? It doesn't seem like a message that anyone would put out there. So I don't think that's really like the point behind it. To be like, if you want to make your message in a movie like sex without love is just a dark void, then I don't know how well that's gonna go over. I guess, but that's like something I could feel this movie saying. So
Sure.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Did you have any
I don't-
interpretation?
I don't. Yeah, I was gonna get to that.
Okay, cool.
I was gonna get to all of that. I just don't like fully I mean, I agree is not the right word. But like buy into the black being lust. I can see like, you know, how you get to that and like assign the two. But I think in the context of the movie, since we see the disfigured man there and he's not particularly lustful, but he's still in that black void, that doesn't line up like too, like, you know, as well as the first 2-3 men that she, you know, played
No,
on.
I don't.
Plus, it's shown that they are like by themselves and are withering away in the void. So
Mhm.
I think if anything, it more, if
Loneliness,
like
having
loneliness, yeah, too, but like also, what I said earlier with death, like that's what the black room is. What I view it to be like the strongest, the strongest attachment to the meaning there.
right.
But not like saying, you know, that lust is invalid or anything. Like there is,
yeah.
you know, that there's validity to that because there's the theme of that in there already. But that's like I feel like that's more like a sub type of thing attached with death,
right.
Because also when we see them like withering away, it's kind of like what death would be to the soul, where you're just kind of floating around indefinitely.
Right.
In this void until like until you're forgotten, until like you feign obscurity and all that and become just nothing. But that was shown by the other guy becoming this essentially deflated balloon, like
Right.
like a really withered, you know, just piece of matter, which is all that we're going to be in death.
Right.
Similarly, the white room is also a void. It's just not dark.
Right.
But you know, black isn't. Well, yeah, black isn't a color. It is the absence of it, and white is.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the colors.
Yeah.
And I've had people like way back in the day try to argue with me that it's the opposite,
Okay.
which I find funny. But yeah, and which also strengthens like the idea that that the all white means life and all that.
Mhm.
But I still am like not fully sold on that scene with her like taking the clothes off the other woman. That's just me offering like an interpretation, which is just based on speculation. I don't have. There's lots of other pieces that I'm just like I can't explain that.
Yeah, I couldn't find one consistent idea because I don't think the black represents lust, but like just kind of like that's showing.
That's the meaning you attach.
Yeah,
to it.
that's the meaning I
Gotcha.
attached, where it's like this is a visual metaphor for sex without love.
Yeah, that's good.
And then when, you know, it's her and the guy that she's like seemingly interested in. We don't know if she actually can have feelings because that's a human thing. It's foreign for her.
Well,
like she's trying. And when they try and have sex, it don't work. Her body rejects it. She looks at where her vagina should be, and we don't know what's there, which I like that detail.
Right.
And yeah, and like I said, similarly to the cake, she kind of just goes through this it's kind of like an AI becoming self-aware, right? But
we're on a similar page with those two, but like slightly different. So I guess I can get into that.
Right. And to put it into another perspective, like the sex is kind of like this animalistic, kind of more mechanic thing that everyone does. It's nature. All of nature does it to reproduce, and love is like uniquely human. Like or it's thought of that way because a lot of animals kill their or
they
just
get very territorial with like their other mates. So
or are not.
We don't have a way of saying that it is, but it's colloquialized that it is a human thing to love and all that.
Right. So it seems it seems sorry.
No, it's good. I was just gonna say like with all of that, it's just a very like rose tinted way of thinking about us as a species to like to find more meaning to it.
Right.
But here, and this is gonna transition nicely to my takings of the woman and all of that, of all what you already just went over. This woman is she's an alien. We've been over that. I never thought she was like a robot alien, but that's not what's important. It shows that that she is looking at our culture, and that all these shots are basically a way of communicating how an outsider is perceiving our existence.
Which is, I think, where someone was bringing in like immigration and or something like that. An immigrant going somewhere. I don't know. That's just not how my mind works. I'm an American. I'm an uncultured swine. So that wasn't my interp, but I could see that in the same way you're saying.
I don't see you're uncultured if it's like if people are like saying that's about immigration, like that's like I would really need to hear the argument.
I don't know. I know
say anything.
The
really?
director of this film says it's meant to be more like, because everyone's got these interpretations. It's about race and ethnicities and cultures. Oh no, it's about male and female. It's about feminism. It's this, it's that. And he said it's just supposed to be a more human experience, like about humanity instead. So, yeah.
Well, regardless, I think it's more. I think the whole men and women holds more water than immigration, considering that like it is a driving factor in the plot instead of other people. Because it's not like she's killing outsiders of Scotland. She's not killing Americans or Brits or anybody that's not native to there. She is killing the natives there.
Yeah, but I cut you off. Also, you were going somewhere.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
Outsider.
Yeah, it's from an outsider's perspective, which is why we're getting like all these like long mundane shots, because that is essentially what existence is. We don't see that in movies or any media because, well, it's boring. We're not gonna see like the main character take a dump for the 5th time in the movie. While he thinks about like what he's going to be doing the next day, or about the certain person, or what he's going to eat, or whatever. Just like all of like the dead air that's in our life.
Which is why I feel like it is very like fly on the wall.
Yeah,
the way it's presented.
Like that's why we're getting like all of her like just driving, and all of that, which is contrasted by the avant-garde and surrealistic visuals of everything.
I did feel when they went underground, that's what, or not. Sorry, when the balloon thing happened and it showed some very colorful screen filling visuals. That's when I was thinking
like the
Kubrick.
kaleidoscope things.
That's when I was feeling Kubrick. Just wanted to interject with that while I remembered.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely felt Kubrick like as well during the whole part. Every time she was in the Black Void.
And also, Lynch when he popped, like that reminded me of Twin Peaks season 3 if it had good effects.
Also, similarly, like I said earlier, that we get more information every time we're in the black room. She takes an extra piece of clothing off each time as well.
Yep,
that's a neat little visual to ideological connection.
Yeah, and
we learn a piece extra, and then
she spends a lot of this movie naked. Just an observation.
Yeah, maybe
Keep
that's
going.
another. It's an observation, but people are going to take that as fuel to say that it's a misogynist because the director took advantage.
No.
No,
Scarlett,
I'm just saying this is what people could say.
Right, and Scarlett Johansson has said that no, because she didn't feel. I remember reading that this sex isn't sex to this whatever she's playing in the movie. This creature, it's something completely different. It's like she's feeding on it. It's like she has this alien connection with it. It does something for her that we don't understand. It's like, so her being naked in this film isn't sexual. It's just the nature of what she is in this film, this alien creature. Sorry, keep going.
I'm sure that she's been comfortable with it. I'm just like what I said earlier about, about the same thing as what I anticipated what people would be saying about this movie.
Right.
Just because, I don't know.
But yeah, there was a quote from her because there was a lot of nudity in this, and I guess someone wanted to ask her about it. So there's a quote online.
Well, yeah. Well, like, that's kind of where we're at as a culture. It's like we're constantly thinking about this sort of thing.
Right.
We're constantly thinking about, like, oh, is this what the deeper meaning is for this? Like, is there something, is it like this racism, misogynist thing, instead of thinking some deeper meaning about like commentary or what scenes are conveying? And we're also caring way, way, way too much about representation.
Sure.
And that it's going to just contradict different character traits, and things will it'll turn out to be pandering and all that. Which is why, like, I am sure, like, she got asked about, the amount of naked screen time she's had, and like me just speculating on what people might say. That is all. I'm not like trying to perpetuate any of that. Just sharing some food for thought. Anyway, so with her eating cake and the sex scene and all that is, I think, reflective of her arc, in that the longer that she's here, that she becomes more interested in humans, in general, and is discovering like what it would mean to be human. So it's more just experimentation, and that it's a shift after she decides to spare the disfigured man after looking at herself in the mirror,
right?
And seemingly just has like this thought of like, he didn't deserve to die. Like, he didn't like really want me or anything. Though it is still unclear what her motives are. I think she just realized that he's innocent more than anything. But like, given what the patterns, it's clear that she just wants to kill. That she wants to kill people who only like lust for her and all that. But she does perpetuate it, which makes that logic, at least by her own logic, a little questionable. At least, but
right, that's
we
why,
as the audience believe that she believes what she's doing, which is what the important thing is. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter if the character's motivations are entirely logical. What matters is that we believe that they believe it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, because of all these different kind of pieces to the puzzle, it's hard to form a completely solid interp, because it's like, oh, this is why she does it, but is it because this part kind of contradicts that? Like, she never played into it.
That's what makes it an interpretation,
right?
As opposed to like an explanation.
Exactly. That's why up until that point in the film, she doesn't perpetuate anything, and it really seems like it's pointing out these guys just see this pretty woman and they're like, "Hey, baby," and but then she gets to someone who doesn't do that.
Well, she gets to a lot of people that don't do that.
Yeah. So like, it plays with. Every time you think you got it, it's like,
it's arguable that she initiates it every time, like she actually is seeking them out. Well, she does.
Yeah, I know. That's just such a funny thing.
Oh yeah. Okay, don't take that out of context. Initiating the conversation.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Predator, prey, all that.
Now we have a clip of that.
Okay, don't fucking.
Okay.
My context was like I said that strongly with like the with the context associated. Anyway,
I'm fucking around.
I know. Anyway, with her eating the cake, it was
cake.
I mean, what the hell did you say? You said cake. Yeah.
Oh, I said
that her body rejects it. I think
it
was for my interpretation. It's more like she just didn't know how to do that.
To eat.
Yeah. And I think it just points out a very strong flaw with the human body, and that our eat and breathe hole is the same hole. And so she probably like ended up getting that mixed up and choked on it.
That's cool. I like that. I mean, we have noses too, but it's
still part of the same hole as well.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't breathe through your nose while you're swallowing food either, because it has to.
No, I like that.
There's a flap, and it's fucking.
I like
stupid.
that. Yeah, obviously, I took it as I said when she attempts to be human. Eating cake, she spits it up as her body rejects it, tries to meet a man and have more of a connection. And
I honestly think that she just didn't have a vagina. I mean, I do like that it doesn't like show us definitively, but
she has a
like,
butt.
Given the true.
Wait, doesn't?
I mean,
Yeah,
the butt
okay,
cheeks are two flaps of fat. Like it's
Yeah,
independent of the butthole.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Do we see butthole in this movie?
No, there are movies where you do, but I was gonna say no. We do see a frontal shot, but I guess you don't know if she has anything under there.
Like you don't know if it's like actually working. Like, it could just be there for aesthetic or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That's the cool thing about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's also I'm leaning towards like she doesn't have one because like the guy is human and he would know how to do it, and it showed like him struggling like to find the whole.
Oh, okay. I forgot. I'll just be clear. Like I skimmed through that part, and I was like, "Oh, what happened here?" But I skimmed, I guess, past like the actual sex scene part. So I was just like, "Oh, she's looking at her vagina with the light
with
bulb."
the light, yeah, which I just thought was funny.
I love that.
Like I just thought it was funny from the guy's perspective, where he's like, he's having this moment with the girl, and she's like, "Wait, what the fuck is wrong with him?" Just looks at it with like a lamp,
Right.
And then she just leaves after that. She's like, "Oh no, okay."
Yeah, and Harry talked about that scene.
And also, like, it would explain why she is so quiet, because she's lost in her own thought of like possibly wondering the morality of like what she's doing, but probably more or less like.
That's how
what it means to be human and all that, but we don't get that narration for her. We don't get her thought process.
Interp, and I agree, or I see that. So yeah, let's just talk about the end real quick then. She escapes to a cabin where she escapes to the woods where she stays in a cabin before being hunted by a man who attempts to sexually prey on her.
Is it bad that I like anticipated that happening? Just from like
no, I think it's very like
what? Never mind.
It's almost predictable with this movie's.
It's not.
It's very in line with.
Yeah, I was questioning it first, but now that I like think about the scene more, like because I was just gonna say he asked her a lot of questions, like if she was alone, which is what the question she often asked like her victims if they were alone. Like he talked to her, asked where she's from. He asked like all the same questions she asked before making her move to kill, but his move was slightly different.
Yeah, also just like the predator-prey dynamic. Well, that's another thing too, right? Okay. That's so weird.
By the way, all I said was that it was different, not better or worse or anything like that. It's just different. Like it's a touchy subject, and I want to make that like abundantly clear.
So I guess we are. You believe that when we see like that dark void and we see what's happening, that's what's literally happening and not like a metaphorical kind of abstract visual for what's going on in there?
I mean, it is, it can be metaphorical,
right?
But given like that,
you believe in the movie that it's happening, like
yes, I believe that like that is literally what is being portrayed because there's no evidence to suggest otherwise.
Sure, okay.
I don't know. It's questionable that that nobody else questions like the nature of the room, like they don't see walls or any furniture. I mean, I think like later on, like some guys are looking around like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I stand on that. I definitely think it's a obviously a metaphor for like to us the viewer, but in the world of the movie it's a little more, abstract.
Well, I think to say like it's strictly metaphorical is to deny like some form of its existence and like its portrayal in the scene,
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
And that's like saying if things are like kind of outlandish or otherworldly, that makes them metaphors because they wouldn't happen. But there is like a lot of thematical, interpretations to be had there, like we've discussed.
Yeah, it could be. I think it could go either way.
Also, we saw hard dick, and I'm surprised.
Yeah, a few times.
A couple times.
So yeah, sorry. Back to the end then.
I also just really liked that. The idea that they're just so transfixed they don't realize that they're like, walking essentially into this thick quicksand like tar.
Which I think is absolutely part of it, yeah.
Like I like to think that like it's not a spell that she put on them, but it's their own mind that's doing it to themselves.
Fucking titties.
Yeah, like they want it so badly that their mind ignores things physically, which kind of happens during sex too.
Yeah,
like I made this joke that during sex you can hit me over the head with a baseball bat like at full force. And I'd be like, "What the fuck? Is that? There are bees in here?" The fucking, you got bugs in here, you gotta take care of that. And then after like the nutting experience, I'd just be like, ow! You know? Like you become Superman during that.
I mean, I could see that for some people. That seems to be a very common thing. So I think that is like what they were going for with this.
Dude, if like, I'm just saying, like, if I'm jerking off, I could foot stomp. Like, I could totally curb stomp and put all my effort into like the sharpest Lego when I wouldn't fucking feel it until after I nutted.
All right.
So like, I don't know. Let's.
Yeah,
I was saying that for a joke.
It's
not
just
literally,
no,
but
I know.
partly
I know.
literally.
I know. It's just obviously, as you could assume from my interp from this movie, like I a lot of struggle with me with like the topic of sex is where that like tunnel vision comes from. But you're talking about it like, yeah, I get
I'm talking
that.
about it like physically as well. Like you do get mentally, and emotionally tunnel vision, but that happens physically.
Yeah, that tunnel vision is what's like.
I'm pretty positive that there was like it is like been confirmed. It is like okay. It has been confirmed that your pain threshold and tolerance like goes way up during sex.
That's like a lot more personal of a note than we usually get to. But yeah, I was just saying for me,
there's been so many game chat episodes where I just talk about jerking off. But
yeah, no, I mean, for me to say that,
yeah, for you maybe
that like kind of tunnel vision is one of the things that I view as like just kind of harmful about it in some cases, which is background to why I view maybe this movie the way I do. So.
I think we're about wrapping up here.
I think that's
anyway.
good. So we were at the last scene. Stays in a cabin before being hunted by that man, and then they get into a little scuffle.
It is not a little scuffle. Going to like.
Well,
I feel like with the nature of this podcast, it's going to be like we have to watch what we say there.
The point is, her skin breaks off during the fight, basically. Well, it tears, and we see her true alien form. What do you think of this?
I don't even know if that could be her true alien form, honestly, but it could be.
It's just her form.
We see what's under the skin,
Yeah.
I really liked it.
She's black.
It was like
Okay. She's black like the void, okay? She's not African American.
No, it was just funny.
Yeah, I know, but she's like a black mannequin, basically. And then she's
black.
And then she's burnt to death. And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, I found it weird that the guy like thought I'm gonna fucking burn it in a forest. Like, I was just like, what? Like, that's your first reaction is to fucking go get a gas can and light her on fire? Okay.
You'd have some kind of reaction if you saw this thing happening in front of you.
And in a forest too. Like,
Well, it was a snowy forest. I don't think they have the problems California has.
True, but I mean, I don't know.
People have fires.
A forest fire can just pop up out of anything. Like, I mean, California is a little ridiculous, but like, yeah, a match could start a forest fire, and like this was no small fire coming out of her.
No,
and it was like very, and also it showed that there was fire on the ground of the forest too, so it wasn't only on her. Like it started from the ground and trailed up to her.
Yeah,
so like it had to have spread, but I don't know.
If we're going back to Interp, I don't know what this ending is supposed to say to us.
I don't view it as like a strong problem with it. It's just slightly questionable. Like on the scale, I guess, of like flaws, like it's slightly questionable.
Sure. And
it is like surreal to like just watch her burn and turn to ash and smoke. And yeah.
And the camera gets covered by snow.
After that, yeah, which was pretty cool. After that, like I kind of had like, I don't know. It was the same feeling I had after watching The Thing.
That's like weird.
It's just kind of like about like this case study, like horror of like this unknown creature wreaking havoc, and then
I guess so. I feel like this movie leaves you with a lot more like holy shit.
That's what I was gonna say. Like this leaves more like of a lasting impression than The Thing does. Not to say that The Thing isn't good though, or even as good.
I love The Thing.
I think it's an excellent horror movie.
For anyone who saw our episode of that, then you know what I gave The Thing. You might have forgotten. I gave this the same rating, so if you know, you know. But yeah, definitely like for different reasons. This one leaves you with a fucking hole in your head. Like, holy shit.
If anything, I might up my rating on the thing.
Oh, okay.
But that's a non-subject. Yeah, I just couldn't like. I didn't know really what I thought. If anything, I was just like, okay, I need time to like kind of process this. And that's like the case with some movies.
Yeah.
No, I've had that.
Oh,
I think I've said that a few times on this podcast where I was like, I'm not entirely sure, and I just have to like kind of sit with it. I think I did that with one of your movies where I watched like a week early, and I was like, I'm glad I did, because
I don't even remember. But so you do think that you're in a place to like, because I thought we started this and you were like, I don't think I'm gonna bring much to this because I just saw him last night. Blah blah blah. You think?
Well, here we are. It's been however long talking about it already.
I think we did all right.
Well, there's a bit more. There's a bit more somewhere.
Oh, you've got more to say? Go for it. I'm at my closing thought.
I don't feel as though this is like a strong point, but I did think like it just made me wonder what what her real motivations were, that she didn't anticipate like that happening.
What?
The scene.
Oh, okay.
At the very end.
Right. Which I skipped.
Not suggesting anything else, but
which I skipped through.
I thought that maybe, like most of the audience members watching the movie, or any viewers, that potentially her motive was that like, targeting these men that are alone, that, they are in a way, those type of predators.
Yeah.
Or like they could be, or something. And like that, like dark evil is what would like that evilness of the human nature could motivate this, the woman to do that sort of thing, even though like, it is assuming that all men are like that. Like it's flawed thinking, but like that's what I thought. Like, you know what I mean? Am I explaining it well enough?
I don't know.
Well, I thought that's what her motive like could potentially be, and I feel like that's kind of like,
you thought her motive was all men are bad.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Well, that's what I thought it could be. I didn't think that like specifically. I was like, maybe,
right. And then, so with that interp, then she would learn that, oh, wait, there's this sweet guy, and then like, oh, wow.
Yeah, like it was kind of following along with that, where like, oh, she's realizing that not all men are like that or whatever.
Hashtag not all men, yeah.
Yeah, but like, and then she genuinely seems like shocked and terrified, that the man is doing what he's doing.
Sure.
Which makes it a powerful scene and everything. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. It just made me put into question that line of thinking in terms of motive.
Sure. I'm a little lost on what you're saying, but maybe it's because I skipped through that scene this time.
Okay, what I'm saying is, like, what I'm basically saying is that I don't know her motive. And that, like, anything that I could have thought, which that, the all men are bad, is kind of like the low-hanging fruit. That I was kind of reaching for, like, oh, maybe I'm not gonna like say definitively or like even bank my money into it like during the first half of the movie, but it's something that I held like that's possibly what there could be like going for as a thematic element or something.
I guess,
or like an undiscussed type of character moment.
This is where, like, obviously, with knowing what my interp is already from having discussed it, and knowing that the director said like, it's not about, well, again, paraphrasing, how I read his quote was something like, it's not about men or women or this or that, it's about humans. Where I find the commonality between all humans is just what we're seeing. Is like, this is human nature, so that would, for me, dispute like it's about men are bad, it's about whatever, it's about preying on each other as humans, I guess, in a sexual way.
Well, I'm not saying that like that's even what I thought. I was saying like there's a possibility that the movie could do, and that I'm going to hold in my back pocket for now until, in case we do end up learning her motive. Though I am going to say like briefly off topic.
My interp of her motive is just that she feeds off of.
Like it's cool to know
energy.
Like what the director's intent was, but it's pretty irrelevant to what happens in the movie.
Sure.
Like art is beyond
It
like
becomes-
whatever the artist intent was. It doesn't matter. What matters is what's there.
It becomes whatever you took from it.
Well, based on the information that you are presented with, that what is actually there,
Mhm.
And if you like get interpretation that is, completely just not present in the movie, then that calls into question that interpretation. But yeah, that's a little bit more broad. And that was kind of a jagged way of thinking that I that I tried my best to try to describe. So hopefully someone out there kind of catches what I was saying. But basically, mostly what I was saying, I don't know. We don't know her motivation.
No.
And that was me trying to work with some potential subtext, and I believe that scene proved that wrong. So
Right.
now I don't know her motive, which isn't a bad thing.
No, I think that's fine.
It's not a good or bad thing. It's just something I'm just stating, just discussing. I thought it was interesting.
That's cool.
But
the
that's-
unknown.
yeah, mostly though, I will say to close it out.
I guess, yeah, because you must have had a lot of problems with this because we haven't really.
No,
Yeah,
I
you hadn't said anything bad about this movie, really.
wait. You said you thought I had a lot of problems.
Because you're like, I guess I like it.
Well, that's why I'm mixed on it because
Does that mean how much you enjoyed it and your rating would be maybe different? Your
Well,
robot
I
and your
find it
personal,
difficult to rate this movie is the thing.
Your robot and your personal would be at odds for this one?
Well, no, I don't know. It's hard to say give a robot rating. I feel like that'd be kind of arbitrary.
Huh.
But though to point out some flaws with the movie is I believe that it's a very monotonous tone. I get that it's it is a thematic choice to have these long shots, and that it reflects existence and everything. But it's no doubt that shots take a long time and that things, scenes take a long time before things actually happen.
And a lot of big picture. I'm cool with that.
Which can make it, which can give it a very monotonous tone. There isn't really any conflict throughout the entire first half of the movie. So it's just kind of establishing things. So it is a little, for me, that was a little tough to stay invested, particularly.
When I first watched this, I was very interested with what she would do next. And as it happens,
yes, I
she
was
does
too.
the same thing 3 or 4 times before there's kind of a turning point. It's definitely not like a movie that's and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. It's kind of just you're seeing into a day or two of this thing's life.
Yeah. Well, I will quote this review because I think this reviewer put it into words that I failed to find to communicate this.
Okay, this is someone's letterbox review.
Yeah. Just this one sentence really. Forgoing a traditional narrative structure, it never really builds any sort of momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Right.
That sums up pretty concisely my problems with the movie. Is that it doesn't really build any momentum because of its monotonous tone. So it was a bit of a struggle to get through at least part of the first half.
I felt like the first half had more momentum personally, so that's kind of funny.
Well,
I think that
we get her killing someone, and then it goes back to the car, and then it's just kind of more of the same.
Yeah, and we see a little bit more every time, which kept me interested.
I was still interested in what she would do, but it was you couldn't shake off okay, but where's this going?
For me, that was part of the fun for me watching it. It can be
fun to be where's this going?
I was pretty consistently on board with it. Where I guess I got and again I skipped this part today, so take this with a grain of salt. But when I first watched it, I started to feel more of that lack of investment, I guess, not lack of direction, because technically the second half of this film has more direction than the first half, I would say.
The second,
yeah, but I felt a more lack of investment on the second half. I didn't care as much.
Do you have any explanation as to why, or do you is that just how you felt?
Because it's just why? Because I felt like it was slower in that way. While the first half was repetitive, it was pretty consistently moving. I felt just watching her stake out these guys, and then watching her attempt to fall in love. It was done very slowly and That's where like it felt like it lost some momentum for me. Funny enough.
Well, I think that's just kind of burning out from the movie because like it's still it uses the long shots all the time.
But that being said, like I don't think that part's wrong or bad. I don't think that at all. I just think it had lost some momentum there for me. And at the end of this, like the forest scene kind of that comes in at the end of this movie, I think is maybe the most enjoyable part. Okay, that's weird to say.
Yeah, that is a yikes.
But like no, but you know what I mean.
Climactic?
I guess so. It feels like something's happening. Change of scenery, like
conflict.
Yeah.
Contrast. Yeah, more contrast than
exactly.
Than all the other contrasts we've been
We
getting.
get visual contrast. We get more of a conflict than we've had up until this point.
Well,
so I'm down with the ending.
I'll finish this reviewer's paragraph because there's more. So this is all quotes. The structure may mirror the humdrum repetition of the protagonist's experience, but is a rather flat experience that only really engages when you've had time to reflect on what you've watched. And I find that completely agreeable.
I think
he there is like a lot of other paragraphs, so like he does go into more detail on like different things.
Why don't you read this user's name since we read their review?
Adam.
Okay, that's all it's got. Okay,
Adam Cook.
Cool.
You did a good review, dude.
Skylar likes your review.
You get my approval from it.
Yeah, I don't know that I would say like I was bored, but I would say that this movie gave me a lot more afterwards. I would agree with that. It's a movie that like you think about and you're like, oh, like you shiver. Like,
and I do need to praise Scarlett Johansson's performance, like Adam's review also does.
Absolutely, why she was like definitely part of why she was in my actors list.
She's disconnected and connected the audience at the same time, like keeping us invested.
Yep.
Like and somewhat not empathetic is not the word, or sympathetic, but like there's an attachment, you know?
Yeah.
Like somehow. And I like just the raw talent needed to manage that on screen, given the nature of the character.
She's fantastic.
That is fantastic.
But yeah, obviously,
bravo.
I love her in a bunch of other stuff too. But that's funny because I mentioned this movie back during that podcast. So I wonder if subliminally you were like, I've heard it was a good movie.
Yeah, I know.
Because back then I was like, Under the Skin.
Yeah, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm going to get to that. But I think I forgot that you said that because I was like, oh, I didn't know you saw it. So.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I wasn't ever going to recommend this just because like, honestly, it is unsettling. It's not something that you want to go back to, or that I want to go back to a bunch because it's like, oh man, that really unsettled me, and that's for its better. That's what it wants to do.
I think I'll watch it again, like with the collection of horror movies.
Yeah.
Like I put it in that camp.
Sure.
It is. Well, it's pretty. What's the word? Existential, I guess.
Yeah. So what I said, my final thought on this movie actually is just a masterclass in unsettling horror. That's how I felt. I
wouldn't be so bold to say masterclass because of what I already said.
Well, yeah, you've got more issues with it than I do, I think. So,
but at least there, I mean, that's like the majority of its problems. That's just like it leads to a monotonous tone that doesn't have any build up or momentum.
Yeah, I've got a lot of tolerance for that.
It's a bit flat, and that's fine.
Like watching all of the David Lynch stuff. People say that about David Lynch all the time. People say that about Kubrick too.
Well, that's the thing, is that tedium is subjective.
Yeah.
But I didn't say it's tedium. I said it was monotonous. Right. Like it's the same tone over and over again, and that lots of things take a while. And yeah, there's they follow through, like, you know, like pretty well. Like it was easy to follow, but it does forgo the more like I already said. I already quoted the guy. Like, he put it better than me.
Sure.
I don't want to rate this.
Oh.
Like I'm gonna say I don't want to rate it. I feel like it'll be arbitrary.
Okay.
To say, but I know you're gonna want me to.
Yeah, I need you to.
Yeah, I know you want me to.
No, I think you're trying to get out of ratings in general, so I gotta keep. I gotta keep pushing you.
I mean, I'll rate some other things. It's just some things are like How do you rate this movie?
Yeah, well,
Like,
that's the important thing is that you made a little caveat. Hey, I didn't want to give it a number, but he made me so here.
yeah. And
There you go.
and,
You
like,
already saved your ass.
I think the discussion is more valuable than just assigning a number, because numbers are going to mean different things to other people's, and then it's really easy to miscommunicate that.
Yeah, we talked about this in the last one because we were both like, oh man, at a certain point it gets hard to do, but it's important to a project I'm working up for us.
I'd find it a little difficult to recommend, honestly.
Really?
Well, I would if someone was like a film buff.
If someone wants,
If someone likes this,
someone likes weird, uncomfortable. If you like the Racerhead, I'm gonna recommend you this.
Right. And like if you've already if you've got, I don't know.
Depends what you're
gotta
into.
have a strong stomach.
Yeah,
for
it depends
I
what you
guess.
like. Then I might recommend you this.
Or yeah.
But if someone's like, I love horror movies. I like. Did you see fucking Freddy versus Jason? Then I probably won't say like, yeah, check out Under the Skin.
Right.
I don't even know if that's a horror movie.
Well, yeah, because lots of people prefer much more structured type of narratives, more conventional type of storytelling.
Did you like Hereditary? You might like this. I don't know.
It's still it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of off the deep end in terms of movies. You know.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the deep end of like a prog rock with music.
I hate that this is more Midsummer than Hereditary.
You know, if someone likes, lo-fi or like hip hop rap, I'm not gonna then recommend them Brain Salad Surgery.
Sure.
Or In the Court of the Crimson King. Like, even though those are both like pretty, they're not underground by any means.
Sure.
But they're way, way different.
All right, go for it. Oh wait, me. I go for it.
Yeah, you go for it.
I give this a 9 out of 10. Which I also gave The Thing. So yeah. And I gave you my final thought. I think it excels at what it wants to do, in most places, and you heard the discussion. Like the little things that maybe I lost some investment in here and there, but it's irrelevant, really. It's a great movie.
Well, based on like just two main criteriums for me rating things, which is a blend of the robot and the subjective type of rating. I would watch this again at some point, and overall, I think it was an overall net positive experience takeaway. By positive, I mean like it's like it's a competent movie.
Mm-hmm.
It just has some flaws, and it will leave you a lasting impression. You're definitely gonna need to like have some. The main beauty I think of this movie comes after you've watched it. It's when you think about it, as opposed to while it's happening. And while I prefer while it's happening, there is still a value to movies like that. So I feel as though I'm going to give this a solid 7 out of 10.
Cool. Yeah, that is a cool topic because that's not in any way a detractor for me, and that's actually something that's going to make a movie more impactful to me. In some cases, it depends what it is.
I think in terms of,
but yeah,
but when you put it into like a horror movie about this alien creature that is just killing humans at like seemingly random, I think I'd prefer The Thing.
Okay. Huh.
But I don't. But
that's such an interesting connection.
I don't know if I can say which.
I think
either movie is better than the other.
No, I'm gonna tell you because I give them the same rating, and I'd rather sit down and watch The Thing on any given day than this. But like, it's for a different reason. Like that's the movie I'm more in the. This one unsettles me. It does what it wants to do.
The Thing unsettles me. Like it's just it's a different flavor of that.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun too. I don't know. Whatever. I did find Carson.
It's more narratively like coherent.
I did find Carson's review, which is funny. I guess the one you clicked on wasn't actually him, even though it's the same picture. And he just said, "Never in a million."
Probably a fan.
Huh?
Probably a fan that had that picture.
Yeah, or someone maybe the
the
green picture is just like a common thing on Letterboxd. I don't know.
Well, it's the green pic that you pointed out was of a Bulbasaur.
Oh, really? No,
Yeah.
this one's just solid green.
Oh, well, this one's not all solid green. Look, there's a Bulbasaur.
Oh, okay, it looks different from over here. No, Carson.
Well, you are far away, and it's a fucking like half-inch circle.
Yeah, Karsten Runquist said, "Never in a million years did I think a movie that would make me contemplate my existence would also have Darude Sandstorm in it." And he also gave it a 9 out of 10. So
Darude
cool.
Sandstorm doesn't make you contemplate your existence.
No. Okay, great. Yeah, so my rating didn't change from the first time I viewed it, and I half viewed it this time, so whatever. Cool.
Well, we talked about that for longer than I expected.
I figured it would be the bulk for obvious reasons. Let's
Weird. I honestly felt as though your movie was going to be the bulk, but I guess it's going to be the opposite.
Okay, sure. Let's get into it.
Yeah. SLC Punk.
SLC Punk. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
It's always a fucking weird transition when you get up and pee.
Yeah, because it kills the momentum. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I mean, but pee though. I need to.
SLP. Punk. SLCP.
SLP Kunk.
Okay. Well,
this is a movie.
I didn't really write any background on this. That's funny. I just looked at my first note. It's just like on the first part of it. So I'm like, oh shit, I did not set up.
It's about a couple of punks growing up in the mid 80s in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah, it is.
And that should be pretty descriptive of of what that would entail. They're not going to be accepted over there in that state.
Yeah, believe it or not, this film turned 20 years old in 2018. If you know what that means.
Wow.
James,
it came out in 98. What do you mean if you know what that means? That was earlier this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Directed by James Marandino. That's called a callback, by the way. But yes, you said that guy's last name looked like mine, I guess. Not a bunch of people have seen this on Letterboxd. So, yeah, shit. Starring Matthew Lillard, otherwise known as Shaggy. Or the dude in Twin Peaks Season 3, who's... Well, I'm not going to spoil it.
Who's the dude? Wait, who is Shaggy? Give me a character name.
What was his name in the Steve-O?
Little Steve-O?
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that, yeah. I honestly keep forgetting Shaggy. I don't know, I haven't seen... I don't like live-action Scooby-Doo, so, I'm never like, oh, it's Shaggy!
They're not great movies, but I love Matthew Lillard, actually. I don't know. Shit, what did you think? Why is this like under the skin?
Because I don't know what to think about.
Really? Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess I was expecting it more to be, like a documentary.
Right, yeah, you said.
But it isn't, and I'm glad.
Even though I told you, no. It's a movie.
Yeah, it has characters, there's narrative, there's a plot. I think, is there a plot?
Yeah.
Okay, it was the coming-of-age story.
It's more of a loose plot,
First off, it's... Yeah. I definitely I guess I just didn't expect it to be a coming of age story. I expected it more as like as an observation of different sets of values in like how conflict arises from that. Mm-hmm. And the history of that potentially as well, and like what that means for the future.
Right.
But it's definitely a more interpersonal type of story.
Right. And I did find a lot of flaws with this movie, I'll say.
I was going to say, I know I can talk about the problems I have with it first, but that probably wouldn't be very productive.
Well, I'll just go in order, because I think we'll probably agree on a lot of the same stuff. Maybe you'll have some issues I didn't, or I'll have some you didn't, but it's not all issues. I recommended this because I just remembered... I remembered it from when I was a fucking kid. Like, we had the DVD for some reason. My brother must have watched it or something.
I figured you watched it as a kid.
But I didn't. I only really popped in for parts of this. And I only, I said last week, I remembered the end. I remember just the last thing. So and we aren't going to get to that yet, but I didn't even know, if it actually earned the ending or not. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, as a plot synopsis, we got Steve-O and Boob.
Bob.
Yeah, just kind of partying around and trying to find a way to fuck up the system, man.
Yeah, and
we're going to school just so we can be educated and fuck it up, so that way there aren't they actually took measures to make sure they follow through on their plan, which is pretty admirable, honestly. Even though even though their worldview obviously is questionable, but
yeah,
the fact that they sought that out was that's cool.
And it's kind of a lot of it is just Steve-O introducing us to a bunch of random kind of personalities.
This movie is campy as fuck.
Yeah.
Just to put it lightly.
Yeah.
Oh, like like Steve-O talks directly at the camera like so many times, like speaking to the audience directly, as if like he's kind of just narrating. Well, I mean, like,
Yeah, it's
narrating.
an aside. They did it in Malcolm in the Middle too. You actually, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of like mainstream movies, but I don't know if this is used a lot still. But I think most people would think
What's a mainstream movie?
That just I don't watch like what comes out in movie theaters like as they come out that often. I plan to when they fucking open back up again
anymore.
But yeah, usually like I'd go see a few movies like a year, and it'd be like shit I'd wanted to see.
Oh, so by like, wait, what did you say? Trendy?
I don't know. I'm just saying
Current?
like, do you think this tactic is used in a lot of movies still?
No.
You're right. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm getting.
But that doesn't matter, really.
Right, but I was gonna say I don't see like a bunch of really big popular movies, so maybe it is used.
I mean, more contemporary movies, like I said earlier, at least like more incompetent ones, are like shoehorning in characters for diversity and representation and all of that. Like, okay, I don't have a problem with that, except for when like there's no reason for that character to exist. Or that's only their existence.
You're talking about when
representation.
You're talking about when Disney has a gay character for like a line where it says, "Oh yeah, this is my boyfriend," so they can then cut it out in the versions.
Where it doesn't do anything for the character.
In the versions that ship out to other countries where you can't depict that, like there's no actual weight to that character. It's just like, oh, fun fact, they're gay. Like, that
is what makes up their character.
Like what J.K. Rowling does.
Yeah, which if anything, like, you know, people who are part of that should be more upset about how fucking awfully written their character is, as opposed to just them being on screen.
Yeah,
like, I find that so backwards, but yeah, and that applies to everything too, including race.
And the example that I threw in was kind of like the one YMS gives a lot, but I didn't want to spend time thinking of something, so there.
I care more about if the character is written well than like who they are. Just write the characters well.
Sure.
Like how the new Star Trek movies make I forgot his fucking name.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
No, Star Trek.
Okay, I have no idea.
It's the Asian guy. But they made him gay for no reason. And even though he wasn't, if anything, he was a ladies' man in the original. Like they just made him gay just because.
All right.
It just doesn't add anything. It's just there, you know.
I don't know.
There's no reason for it. Just like, and similarly, before anybody jumps to conclusions, just saying like I have a problem with gay people, which I don't. I have a problem with if straight couples do it. Again, using Star Trek again.
Are you just talking about like fan service? Oh, these two are together now.
No, just shoehorn shit. Like example, using Star Trek, how Spock and Uhura are, they force that relationship together.
I have
just
no
so they
clue
can.
About Star Trek.
Okay. Let's just break it down to what it is. Two characters that have no business being together are being forced to be together just so they can very contrivably break it apart, bring it back together, just so they can make interpersonal conflict. It's not earned; it's contrived.
Well, why don't you just use the example in the Iron Giant with the two characters that end up together at the end that we didn't like? But whatever.
The mom and the they didn't really have any business being together, but like it's at least like somewhat believable. They could have had a chemistry like built up through the events of the movie.
All right, we should.
This is like two characters that just have no. Okay, anyways.
Yeah, we should really talk about the right movie.
Well, you said contemporary movies and you got me ranting.
What do I got? So we'll get to that. I'll just go note by note. Why don't we do it that way?
Yeah, let's go for it.
I like the opening credits with the record covers, and I think they did something like that in the end too.
Sucks and Violet.
Yes, and it's a very soundtrack-driven film, which is of course it is, and it's made up of a bunch of old punk tracks.
Honestly, like I honestly was expecting more. Like it said soundtrack-driven, but it didn't like feel very driven by the soundtrack. Honestly,
I felt it.
It kind of dropped out like in the second half.
I'm down with it. We got the Ramones.
Like I want there was there, but I wanted more. Just like out of like with Bohemian Rhapsody, it was like, damn, for a Queen movie, there surely wasn't that much Queen in it. In terms of music. Like, I was honestly expecting more punk out of this.
I didn't know how you'd feel because I figured you'd be like, I don't care about the music. But
I wasn't big on it, but
Yeah.
like, you know,
we got like stuff from Ramones, Fear, Vandals, Minor Threat, etc. So if you don't like punk music, you probably won't care for the soundtrack. That's what I wrote. I obviously dig it. And I guess you just said your note on the soundtrack.
I'm not big on like a lot of the early punk, but like that doesn't really matter. Like I'm not holding against the movie for that. If anything, I'm like, why wasn't there more of it?
Right.
Like, if it's soundtrack driven, like make it soundtrack driven, not just like, oh, here's like a handful of tracks in the beginning and then that's it.
I felt it was pretty consistent, I'll say. I was writing down bands as I was hearing them.
I wanted more is what I meant.
Sure. We got Jason Segel, which you probably don't know who that is, so it doesn't mean much to you, but I thought it was pretty cool that he was in this movie. He was like the kind of geeky friend who
him
is apparently also like a badass.
the hardest.
Yeah.
I loved him. He was very funny.
Yeah, he's in like some bigger shit. He was in How I Met Your Mother for years. He was in a bunch of like Judd Apatow movies and stuff. So like people know him. It's pretty cool that he's here in the smaller movie. Liked his character. So what did I say? Just because I thought, I don't know how you feel about the character writing, which is obviously like very, especially for all the people that Steve-O just casually introduces us to, that are just like, look at this guy, he's fucking crazy, and like tells you some random shit about someone, and then like they do something totally over the top, and
Well, which I'm like, I'm fine with that. Honestly, like it just kind of sold the idea like I'm not watching a movie. I'm just kind of like attending this party.
right.
But and then it turned out to kind of just it turned out to also be like, oh, here's like this a collection of like this part of Steve-O's life,
Right.
you know, when he was in his rebellion phase. And if anything, this movie just like really sold to me like, you know, speaking personally, it just like confirmed to me like, damn, I really did just have a rebellion phase.
Yeah.
I mean, not in the same way you did,
No.
you know, with being punk, but like the mentality I had, like by this movie's like definition, I was a punk head,
Right.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck school, I ain't going to college. This is all stupid, dude. I flunked my grades out of rebellion
Right.
because I thought it was fucking stupid, and it is.
I remembered you not giving.
I did it to prove a point rather than caring about my future.
I remembered you not giving much of a shit about your grades when I met you, but that was obviously past your phase.
That
That was just like,
I was still a little bit too there. I mean,
Yeah.
that was more like I was going there for to actually learn as opposed to like, you know, do anything with like these like, you know, with this measurement of grades and all that.
Yeah, and there's like the social side. There's other reasons to go.
I didn't go for the social side. You know me. Fuck people.
Oh, weird. I thought you just changed since then.
Nah, I'm not really. I mean, if meeting people's cool, but I'm not going to go there for that reason. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
beside the point.
I said that, believe it or not, that these characters, in my opinion, come off very accurate to certain circles of the punk scene. As well, what did I just write? The ham-fisted monologues come off authentic in a way that they couldn't in most other films, because punk rock is known for being so vocal about their beliefs, very abrasive and in your face. So when he's just going off and on, like on and on and on about like some shit that is so like, man, who cares? Or like just like isn't a generally agreeable thing. Oh, did you notice he was freaking out about just like what kind of music people like? This guy listens to these posers, like,
Yeah, posers.
fucking, when's the new Smiths album coming out? I thought that was
new
funny.
Smith's album. I knew.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, that line, I was like, this is why he recommended. it to me.
No,
because he liked the Smiths.
I didn't even remember this movie, but yeah, like he just goes on and on about some
I
shit like
loved that part. I found that part like so entertaining. Just like,
Yeah.
he picked some random dude, just like, look at this fucker. Like he pointed at his England patch on his jacket. And I was like,
that. Sex Pistols, what the fuck? That was in the UK. What the fuck? Anarchy in the UK. This is America. What the fuck are you talking about? He's just,
oh, anarchy
This
in
is-
the UK.
yeah, this is actually like, there are like some punk shows you'll go to in like some smaller circles with people who are just like, who talk like this and have this passion to it, and it's pretty cool. It's not really something that I ever got into. That part's like, hey man, chill out, from my perspective.
And I
but-
guess like in a way as well, like I guess with the the movie being so anarchy, anarchy, anarchy. It
Mhm.
like similarly, what I was talking about earlier, it reminded me because I was also all about anarchy.
Really?
Oh,
didn't
yeah, I was
know
like,
that
fuck
about
the
you.
government.
I was like that.
I was libertarian as fuck back then.
It was a younger age when I was like, oh, it can't be that. But like, I definitely for a while I was drawing anarchy signs places and be like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, libertarianism is basically just controlled anarchy,
Yeah.
I guess,
What do I have?
But like, yeah,
We're going somewhat in order, and then I have bigger talking points as we go. So, my next note was, unless you were about to say something.
I'll not keep going.
My next note was the way Bob's hand looks after punching the mirror.
Yikes. Yeah, no, that's nasty.
That didn't look like realistic at all, did it? Or did it? Like, I just had to note that because I was like, what the fuck? His hand just like turned into like a black like.
Or no, see, when I saw, I fucking,
Mitten or
I was
something.
physically like repulsed.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like it's prosthetics. And
Yeah,
it's, like,
obviously.
exaggerated to fit the tone of the movie.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah,
what
like
the-
actually, no.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no.
I was like, that can't. Your hand wouldn't look like that. But and he just punched a mirror too.
Well, it could. I mean, yeah, because it sold the idea that like it is the most infected thing that doctor's ever seen.
Yeah. Right.
Like I mean, as how I watch movies, a lot of like the wild shit that was happening.
Mhm.
I mean, I would just be like, fucking why? But I realized like it's just meant to sell like the idea of that thing happening.
Yeah. There's a lot of.
It's like campiness isn't a problem if it stays consistent,
And there's a
with
lot of
its
wacky campiness in this.
Oh yeah, like it goes like really like
It goes hard.
It goes really hard with its campiness, but like one of the problems I feel as though with this movie is that it doesn't earn it as much.
Sure.
Like things just kind of happen just to get them to happen, Like and that's like a consistent issue I have with the movie, like how they get scared of the foreign dude pulling a gun on them and shooting the couch next to him as an intimidation move.
Yeah, I think I've got
and they'll be
notes
like
on
be like shaking from it, but they'll just shrug it off when Bob's dad like actually tries shooting them in the head, but he missed because they ran away.
Oh yeah, they ran away, right?
Like yeah, they ran away, but like they just shrugged that off.
Huh.
Like so that seemed inconsistent to me. As an example. Also, like let's see, like a whole bunch of cop cars just show up to a concert for like seemingly no reason. Like they just kind of had them all there.
Which concert was that?
Like-
Was that like?
It was like near the beginning of the movie. I forgot like exactly what. There's a lot of things just seem like they just just happen
it's a
in the
common
movie.
thing if it's like a house party or something, or was it like at at a club?
It was at the club.
I don't remember. Okay, because like the whole thing is like, obviously there's the whole punks versus police kind of backlog, and the whole idea is that just like, oh, there's a punk show, police are gonna show up and shut that shit down. And I don't. Maybe that was accurate at some point. I don't know. I wasn't alive back then, but
I forgot what happened in that scene, but what more I was trying to illustrate was that scenes don't really feel earned or scenarios. It just kind of like wanted to happen, just like present these scenarios, and then that was it. Like it wouldn't have any consequences or lasting impressions of that certain scenario. It just kind of happened, and then that's it. You forget about it.
sure.
At least with some of them, like there are some details that you remember, like his father, but I mean, like the consistency aside, like it still adds the detail of Bob's father and all that.
Right.
Likewise, how they just like end up shrugging off eventually that that the foreign guy was had a gun on them and is actually batshit crazy. It's a tad contrived,
Again, I think I'm gonna have notes on him a bit later. I guess it can. If anyone wonders why it can get repetitive here, is because usually I have a note and then you'll mention it like before I get to my note on it, and then I get to it later. And
that's why you can just like say the note now while we're on the topic.
Well, I don't know where it is because I've got a giant paragraph.
Oh, fucking hell, dude!
Yeah,
Organized.
Well, it is. It's organized from like beginning to end.
Yeah,
so.
chronologically. No,
Yeah.
no. I'm just giving you shit.
I said there's a scene earlier in the film, I guess, where the camera refocused twice in a row, and I wasn't sure if that was intentional
I didn't notice.
because it was like, a bit I don't know. I thought maybe it could have been intentional, like it could have been in line with the style of this movie. Because it seemed like a lot of the cinematography and editing choices here are like made purposely to be jarring. But I decided it was an accident because like it happened more throughout the movie, and like it's pretty slight, but just like the little adjustment of focus, my eyes caught it every time. So I thought it was worth mentioning. So now let's get into what I had for the style of the movie, and then that's where I have my examples. So I would say I'm mostly on board.
You're bored?
I'm mostly on board.
Oh, on board. Okay. I thought you said I'm mostly bored from the movie.
No.
I was like, what?
I'm mostly on board with the style this film is going for. However, I can't say I'm a big fan of a lot of the editing choices. Audio cutting out during the fight at the club it seemed a little weird. It wasn't like when audio cuts out in Under the Skin, for example.
Well, wait, we have a club in this movie, and there's a club in Under the Skin.
Yeah, I didn't see much of like a purpose for that. It just seemed like maybe they had shitty audio from what was actually happening at the club, so they just muted it. I don't know. Whenever there are a bunch of cuts in a row, it can get pretty jarring, but that might again be purposeful. I think sometimes it's definitely purposeful, like cut. But other times it seems more like the scene is playing out more naturally, and it's not as much like a choice as it is like gotta cut to the person who's talking. I don't know if you felt that at all.
I didn't really particularly notice. I wasn't paying attention too much to the editing. I was thinking about other things, but I understand. One thing that I did stand out with the editing, but I just found like pretty fucking funny was
the fades.
No. It was near the end of the movie where they're saying bye to Buff Rivers.
Buff Rivers.
Yeah, the nerd dude.
Yeah,
with the bullshit.
Jason Segel. Oh wait,
Buff Rivers.
Maybe I don't know.
Hard Rivers. I don't know. And yeah, they're at the dinner table, and then Steve will start talking to the audience, facing directly.
Oh yeah, I'll get there.
I'll just go over it now. Consider like. It looked normal because it just looked like he was facing us, sitting in the spot. But it's shown that it's a green screen and that it's panning and zooming closer to Buff Rivers' face, and it just makes Steve look so much more out of place. Mm-hmm. I just found that like visually funny.
So
a lot of the green screen usages I found were like really tacky.
Yeah, I had a few. I'm gonna get there.
I guess if anything, I thought some editing choices were inconsistent.
I'm in the middle of my paragraph on my editing choice issues, which
they were like, oh, now let's voiceover, now let's like have him do a one-shot thing, now let's have him do a green screen, now let's have him like think in his head without I don't know, it's just it was inconsistent.
It was a little strange. Sometimes when it's just fade after fade after fade, I think there could it literally would have looked better if they were just hard cuts. I think it could have fit what's going on better. The sped up scene of Steve at the party looked pretty funny. I don't know, maybe it was supposed to look funny, but it's hard to draw that line with this movie because sometimes it's like, yeah, that's like the wackiness, the tone of this movie that's going for, and other times it feels like you're not supposed to feel that way, like it was just an editing choice. So the fact that I can't tell, I don't know if that's good or bad, but didn't love a lot of the sound effects either. The punch sounds and other impact sounds were pretty like pretty bottom of the barrel,
But that's still consistent with the tone, isn't it?
I guess you could say so, yeah. The effect when Steve-O is sitting at the table, yep, what you just talked about, with the guys, and he starts his monologue about studying botany. It looks not great. It looks really funny, and then I noticed...
Yeah, but it's from how shitty it looks is why it's so funny,
Yeah, I noticed he was superimposed before the screen even started moving with him.
See, I didn't. I was looking at Buff Rivers while he was looking at the camera.
Oh,
so
okay.
Like it totally got me with that like cheap trick.
That's funny.
I mean, it's a trick, yeah, but like...
And I said it just looks even more goofy as it goes.
But since it got me, it just made it funny. Once I realized what was happening, I was like... Pfft.
No, that's hilarious. Similar effect happens again before the end, which was him like floating on his bed and then he was floating.
Yeah, that's what I meant with the green screen.
Yeah, I said just bad looking green screen.
Well, I think that's just a product of like when did this come out?
Yeah, 98.
98. So like
there was good shit. I wish I cited some examples.
I mean, early 2000s movies and like movies like this were like, oh, green screen's a new thing, we have to use it, and like you don't.
Yeah,
there's a time and a place to use a green screen, and that ain't one of them.
And I assume this had a lower budget, so that could be part of it too. I didn't look at what the budget was, but anyway. Yeah, okay, so I did have a note too on what you mentioned about events just kind of happening. I said a lot of events happen pretty unnaturally, and more just because the script needed things to go that direction, like Steve-O with Brandy. I think that was at the end. Or no, Steve-O with Brandy, like he just, these two are going to be together. Towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, the movie as a whole is pretty contrived.
Yeah, and then Bob losing his shit, drinking and downing a bunch of pills seems really unwarranted at the point that it happens. I felt, I don't know, do you have nothing for that?
What?
Bob drinking and downing a bunch of pills, especially when he's built up as this guy who doesn't he doesn't drink, he doesn't take pills, he doesn't anything.
Right.
And then it just kind of happens at the end.
No, he drinks. He doesn't just do pills.
Right.
He drinks and smokes, yeah.
And I feel like they tried to
you felt like it was
kick that under the rug. Well, I do, but like I feel like it was supposed to be a subtle thing where, he took all those pills. So when it's revealed the next day that he died, like you're not supposed to be like, oh, he's gonna be dead, but like it's supposed to be kind of like, oh shit.
Well, Bob said like, no, I don't do pills.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The movie addressed it, but like it's clear that since he was uncomfortable and just wanted to like, get rid of that, that he thought like, okay, this is something I should do. I think he was convinced into doing that. Like it was quickly, but yeah, I didn't think it was like terribly out of place, in his character. Like, some characters, like, he is already going through a change, so it's not like it was inconsistent. I mean, I feel like Bob was inconsistent in other areas, but that wasn't one of them. Like I felt like part of like an arc or a change in him. Just in it, which happened in that moment.
I don't see why he was freaking out.
Well, because he said that. Because let's see, his head hurt from all the alcohol and the loud music.
Yeah,
which is kind of like, which is on the nose of like, oh, he's getting older and he's becoming a boomer.
Yeah, and he just takes a bunch of pills and punches a mirrar, and it's like.
Like, I don't know why he punched the mirror. I mean, Bob is just crazy. Like,
yeah, that's exactly
kind of, like established him as like kind of wacko when he's like drinking. But like in the beginning of the movie, it gave him a reason, that he was just afraid of needles and doctors, which is why he acted like so abrasively, like in that scene.
Yeah, I like that out. Actually.
Like there's a reason for that. There wasn't really a reason for him punching the mirror other than like, oh, I mean, no, wait, never mind. No, I take that back because he looked at himself and he didn't like what he saw.
Yeah, he says I don't like mirrors.
Yeah, he hated, like he started to not like the lifestyle. He was like, it's pretty reflective of the whole coming of age.
Yeah.
Subgenre of like what the story is. And he even asked Steve-O like if he thought his father was like he failed his father or anything. Mm-hmm. Like I guess that's what he experienced inside, but didn't know how to like deal with that because all he's ever been doing with it is just by like suppressing it by drinking or like taking it with anger and music.
Sure, I guess I felt like his issues weren't really developed well enough to use as a major plot point, which is of course
there wasn't really
that
development. Yeah, but I'm not gonna like ask for really strong character development in this movie.
Sure,
like the fact that we got that is like, oh, it's cool. It's, like that's something.
Sure.
Though I did think he was inconsistent with like how he was portrayed in the beginning, like that he was where he was basically Frank.
How's it going, dude?
Oh, also, if I ever had a note for this movie, it would be, is that fungo?
For who?
For Bob.
For Bob? That's
look
hilarious.
at it. I was like, is that fungo?
I don't see it, but that's hilarious.
Oh, dude.
No. Oh, I guess I could.
You can see it. Just get rid of the mohawk. Is that fungo?
Put a hat on him.
That's yeah. I'm not even gonna explain it. Yeah. So he's basically like Frank, but then like when he seems to like kind of toy with the kid that like that ended up taking 100 milligrams of acid or something. Like he just seemed like he's this hard ass in one area. Other times he was playful and cool. Other times he was, like needlessly violent. Other times he's like really. He just seemed all over the place.
Yeah, it's kind of just whatever it calls for in that moment, and it yeah.
But also like, I just find it ridiculous. Like the whole story with that kid that, like way overdosed on acid.
I don't remember.
Or like he was telling the story about how since he ran from the school cop, the water from sprinklers melted the acid and went through into his leg.
Oh yeah,
and that somehow entered his bloodstream to take 100 milligrams of acid, and that somehow made him psychotic and nearly killed his mother.
Yeah, I love that.
It's funny, but like I was just like, that's not what happens on acid. Like,
well, yeah,
that's just
I don't think you're supposed to think that. See, it's funny because different things, some things I'm like, oh, I had this issue, and you're like, shrug it off as like, I don't need that in this movie, or it's wacky. And then other things,
like I explained,
you'll say like, I have a problem with that, and I'll say, it's wacky.
I explained like how Bob got to that moment and why he punched the mirror and why he was kind of losing his shit. Just like there's a strong character development, like wouldn't really be in the tone of this movie, which is the camp. What I have a problem with, with the kid is that it's just inaccurate. They get alcohol right, they get drinking right, but every movie is just like, how the fuck do drugs work? And it's just like, it's kind of like, it's a trope I'm starting to see more and more now. I'm just like, God damn it. Like,
I mean, yeah,
that's like all of a sudden being like, oh yeah, a car can run off of piss,
I mean, yeah, I can't say I care if it's gonna show me like the inaccurate effect of it, because like you see weed's never done right, and it's like that's because they want to do it fun. Like I'm okay with that.
Well, let's see, they exaggerate. It's fine to exaggerate it,
That's what that story was.
But like,
as I took it, like, oh, his fucking acid sunk into his leg.
That's more.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, what he was hallucinating was more akin to like what you would see on shrooms.
Sure,
but like it does. Wait, no, they drop it. Yeah, fucking Steve-O and that one girl, Sandy. Yeah, they
drop acid.
They drop tabs in the park, and that's probably what more it's like.
Right.
I mean, also there are some other things that didn't show.
Right.
But obviously, I don't know. I should ask some people what would happen if you took 100 milligrams of acid, because I don't know, but you certainly don't go psychotic.
All right, going forward. I think Matthew Lillard is pretty great in this movie. I really love his performance. I think he's just a really good actor, and he's kind of just known for being Shaggy. I think his passion makes Steve's character, this obnoxious anarchist, work pretty well. Which is great, because if you have a character like that, you really need an actor who can sell it.
He sells it well, and he's relatively consistent. So.
Love the faces he makes too. Yeah. Yeah, I think he's great in this.
I love how like hard he pops off like whenever he talks about like some certain ideologies. Like it's because he's thought about it.
Yeah.
And like there's he's come to it in his own way, but it's still flawed.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah,
that's what I love it. I think that's very charming, and he brings it. And brings it hard as the actor.
Yeah, and like later in the movie, where like after Sandy cheats on him, and he talks with
who?
That hippie dude.
I don't remember.
That told the other girl to stop taking her meds.
I don't remember. I don't remember his name. No, I remember him, but I don't remember.
One scene, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Fine.
I wanted you to know the character. I didn't care. Yeah. So whatever his name is, I'm gonna call him Hippie Dude. But first of all, like in the party where like the girl was saying how she stopped taking her meds and she feels better, maybe like I just went, oh no, maybe that's because of Joker.
Right.
Yeah, but it's still a very oh no. But like I felt way more dread from this movie than I should, and it's probably because of Joker.
Right.
It is a little questionable that like there is no consequence to that either. Like she just stop taking my meds. That's the last time you see of her.
Yeah, that's.
But I did enjoy like the scene where they actually like discussed their like ideologies and like philosophical beliefs, even though
Right.
The hippie dude is a massive stop.
Okay.
You know what word I want to say.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty great. What was I saying? There was some comment you made that I wanted to respond to, and then I forgot it, and now I'm in this like brain funk. So I guess I'll just move
where was
forward.
it? Is it about the hippie dude?
No, I don't know. Oh, just I think
How hard?
because we're worrying about like how things are portrayed here. Like, oh, we don't see that girl again, and that's troubling. And that's like, it's really just the attitude of the scene, of the punk scene, to just not give a fuck. It's this nihilism, this anarchism, this like, fuck doctors. Doesn't he say like fuck doctors? Yeah, like I don't.
But that's because Bob is afraid of doctors. Like Bob said that. Like
it's just a treatment of it's about the general disrespect of any organized anything or any. It doesn't matter if it always makes sense. It's like it's like this passionate,
no.
huh?
That part is where you lose me.
Well, that's punk rock. It's like this kind of more passion fueled than anything in a lot of cases. I'm not saying there are like people in punk rock that actually like make sense, but like there's a subculture of sorts of just, these types of dudes.
Okay, well then,
and they do sound informed on other points.
Well, with that girl in mind, let me present you with the scene where Steve-O is commenting how it made him uncomfortable to turn his back on his friend that was struggling after his experience with drugs, and he is now homeless from that. And he has shown before in the movie that he cares about that, about that girl, or I forgot her name, who's off her meds, but that is just it for her. Like, it seemed like the movie took care with certain characters
and not others.
Yeah, and it just seemed like it wanted, like, she not taking her meds was reason for that discussion to happen between Hippie Boy and Steve-O, and then it just sweeps the rest of her under the rug just so that we can get to where we needed to go. Like, it doesn't like clean up after itself. There's no consequences for that.
Nope.
There was consequences for, that kid, what happened to him that we actually got to see. Hell, even if we didn't see him, that would be in itself a consequence because he could be locked up.
Sure.
And the movie could have done that, but it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been fine. That would have been, like the rest of that. We don't hear anything else after the girl.
Yeah. All right. Let's blast through the rest of these notes. So I was last talking about Matthew Lillard's performance, and I think he's great. I said other performances I felt were mixed. Jason Segel was good.
Buff Rivers.
Yeah, sure. And I thought Bob was good sometimes and less good other times. So.
Oh, we have to talk about the foreign guy.
I'm gonna get to him.
Okay, cool.
Before that, I'd like to say I like the style of having Steve give multiple asides throughout the film. I figured you might not, but I guess we already discussed that. Just going on and on and on about some anarchist rhetoric or hating posers, introducing the audience to a bunch of random strange characters. Yep, went over that. Okay, there.
I found
like
those rants to be entertaining as fuck, too.
Yeah, like Mark, the rich guy, showing off all the dumb shit he bought, and how uncomfortable he makes Steve-O is great, and then it turns into this crazy shit with the gun.
Well, yeah. Also, when he was starting to show off all the shit that he bought, I was just like, oh no, this is going to be me, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, hey, look at this. Look at all these lights I bought. Except his lights, yeah.
I love that, the way that he just talks about his shit.
Also, here's your connection between this movie and Under the Skin. Are you ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Because we get... this is what made watching these two movies back to back, like, pretty interesting. Because we get that scene with Mark about how he explains like his whole backstory of, how his parents died in a plane crash and he was 5, left on a stranded island. What scene do we get in Under the Skin? A stranded little kid on a beach.
That's hilarious.
That's Mark.
Stop.
That's Mark. That's my headcanon. That's
Stop!
That kid crying in the beach.
That's great.
And like, no, oh God. That part was so fucking comfortable. I don't know how we didn't talk about that.
Oh, yeah. I think I didn't see it today.
Okay, so that makes that one of the other more uncomfortable scenes. I think that makes that. It makes it tied for first, I feel like.
In Under the Skin.
Yeah, in terms of like uncomfortableness, I put that above like I just put that above also
The ending.
the floating in the void. Though
Okay.
it is uncomfortable. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Back to Mark.
I don't know why I was vague with this note. I don't know what I'm talking about. I said the fight. Where does it come from? And then I said
the fight.
Then I said slideshow is great. One of the better executions of this style. Do you have any idea?
Where all the rednecks like barge in, and then Steve-O goes on his biggest and also most pointless rant, where he's just like where he just talks about really the cycle of violence.
Yeah, yes, that is it. That slideshow.
Yeah, because they're up in the party, and then just rednecks like storm the house and just come up and fuck them up and just try picking a fight.
Yeah, that I did say was in my opinion one of the better executions of the style. I thought that was really great.
Well, a slideshow, like, yeah, that's just kind of, I don't know.
Oh, I thought it was great.
I was just gonna say that's kind of like a benchmark type of thing. I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah, but I like how it cut away from everything that's going on. It's like now, and it just here's a little lesson on rednecks or whatever the fuck he's talking about. Violence, and then it ends with just like, so I guess in the end it's just like I'm wrong too. So whatever.
I don't really
back to the movie
like that kind of presentation or anything. Or like I don't prefer that at all in like any like. Not any, but like in majority of like the media I consume, but it fits the tone of the movie and it's not a problem. So
I love it in this.
I just personally don't have a preference towards it.
In this context, I love it. Just that it cuts away from what's going on. It's like, let's take a second and do this. Like that's an interesting kind of thing I feel like to do.
It's fine that it's there. I just don't personally like, like that or prefer it either. I'm just like, come on, let's get to the action. Like, especially since nothing was said either, too.
Sure.
Like, and it's fine. If it's a tone, like, it's fine that it's existing. It's not a flaw or anything. It's just like I personally didn't like it. I felt like it drew out the scene.
Okay.
But I do like it in Sly Cooper.
Okay. I thought, yeah, again, I don't need to say it again. I loved it. Steve-O's relationship with his dad is like a best friend dynamic. It feels weird. Maybe I just wish my relationship with my dad was like that. Not that we have a bad one, but like it's just the way they talk. Like I'm talking to you or Brandon or something. That's fucking cool. Yeah. What do you think? I'm talking about like later in the film.
I love how the dad also totally called that it was just a rebellion phase and that he was gonna be a lawyer.
Yeah, no,
I just love that. It also kind of it slightly reminds me of like when I had like when my dad would talk with me when I was in that phase too.
Mm-hmm. I love both the scenes.
There's just only a couple of whatever. I
love both the scenes with the dad, like at the beginning where they sit him down and
Steve-O rips into him too.
Yeah, like, I love it. And then
even when I was watching, I'm just like. I mean, some of that doesn't really hold water, Steve-O. But like, I mean, what's important is that
it doesn't need to. I don't think.
That's why I said in Under the Skin is that it doesn't need to. His motivation doesn't need to be logical. What matters is that if we believe, Steve-O believes that it's logical, and yeah, we do.
Right.
Like it's clear that Steve-O believes, in his ideology until it's like put further into question as the movie progresses. That is pretty textbook, character arc right there.
Right. One sec. Okay. So what did I have? Yeah, I love the beginning or the beginning scene with Steve-O and his parents, and then in the scene where he gets into the car with his dad and they're just like best friends. That seems pretty inconsistent too, I guess, because it seemed like, oh, maybe there's not the best parent-child relationship, but then they're just best friends later. But whatever.
I thought it was fine because like the dad has this maturity and understanding of what Steve-O is going through.
Yeah. And
is partly ignoring like some actual criticisms towards him that he's also like putting in the same camp.
Yeah.
But it's what makes them similar, that they are like that, Steve-O is fine with like, his ideology, but there are holes in that logic.
Yeah.
And like similarly, like there's holes, in the dad's logic and all that. And and the hippie as well. Like, I mean, honestly, the hippie with the discussion, like I mostly just like, yeah, that's agreeable, like largely.
Yeah.
Except for the part where he told his sister to not take her fucking meds, and he's like, "Oh, the human body needs to go through pain." I was like, "God, you're such a."
It's just.
I had to finish that sentence.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. You went off on a little tangent. So anyway, acid trip scene. I like the piano piece. I don't really have much to say
Moonlight
about the
Sonata?
acid trip. Huh?
Moonlight Sonata.
No, it wasn't Moonlight Sonata.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Was it? Was it? Really?
Yeah.
I did a.
That's why. Okay, that's why I was like, "Where did the soundtrack go?" Like, it started playing that. I was like, "That doesn't really feel
I like
it fits
that.
in here."
I like that little break.
It's fine to have that, but like, it did it like more than once. So I was like, "Where did all the punk music go?"
I Shazammed that or something, and it came up as a totally different song. I looked up that song.
Shazam is pretty stupid when it comes to classical stuff. Gonna say.
Yeah, I looked up the song that it said it was, and I couldn't fucking find it anywhere. I was like, "What the fuck?" That's Moonlight Sonata. Thank, good song.
Let's see. I'll play it. I'll play it for you. Like,
I won't remember. There's no point. Lillard is great when he finds out Bob is dead. He really sells the emotion, which is fortunate because the event itself feels rushed and out of place, in my opinion. Don't know how you feel about that.
a second.
Yeah, he's pulling it up, even though I'm really not gonna remember it. I don't know. That could be it.
This person's playing it slower than people normally do. But yeah.
I don't remember what it sounded like is the problem. I just remember liking the piano piece.
Yeah.
That's what the thing was.
Then I'm gonna say if we're thinking about the same thing, then that's what it was because I noticed that it was there, and I feel like you're gonna be like, "Oh, I like the piano song." I'm like, "Yeah, it's good. This is what it is."
Cool. Now I know.
But no, yeah, it's a great classical track.
Yeah. So you probably missed my note.
No, I heard you.
Okay.
He does sell the emotion very well.
And yeah, I thought he was great. I didn't feel the event was earned. Which, like I said, this is what I remembered about this movie. I remembered Bob was dead at the end, and it was like, oh, it was sad. But I didn't know if like they earned that ending or not. It turns out I don't really feel like they did. It felt like it was a story beat that they needed to have happen. So Steve-O could have motivation to go through this change and like get his shit together.
Right. And Steve was already going through that change was the thing too. Like when he was talking, you know.
Yeah.
When they were talking and they were out like kind of the desert and it was Bob and the other girl, Trisha?
I don't know.
Trish, that's her name.
It felt like she wasn't in the movie a bunch.
She was like just kind of meant to be, you know, just there.
Yeah, she was on the cover, I think. If we're talking about the right girl.
Oh, is she?
If we're talking about the right girl.
Yeah, no, it's Bob's girl.
Right. Yeah. Yep. When they were just out.
On the cover.
When they were just out standing there all together. I really liked the shot composition at that point, actually. Then we didn't talk about that part at all.
Who the fuck is that on the cover?
Exactly.
That's not Trish, is it?
I don't know.
I thought she was like, who the fuck is that?
I don't know. The movie is mostly just about the guy.
Steve-O
and Bob. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like and also Sandy. You know, I think Sandy should be on the cover. Why the fuck? Who the fuck are ya?
I also did enjoy, kind of random, I guess, but you talked about when Steve-O got cheated on. Like I enjoyed his response to that too. Like, oh, he is human. He does have like this connection to a girl and stuff. Because early in the movie, he's like, "Oh, what? You fell in love to Bob?"
Let me backtrack you a bit. Just because they're like people who are polygamous doesn't make them not human.
What do you mean?
You know, where he said like, "Oh, he is human" because he felt something that she was with another person.
Yeah.
Some people don't have to, and they can still be human.
Don't have to what?
They don't have to feel something there. Like they can be like okay with that. Like that's what they were like, and Steve-O was mature enough to like even recognize that she had the right to do that because it was their agreement. Oh, but he didn't realize that he was gonna be emotionally affected.
Okay, yeah, I think
you just said like, it makes him human. I was like, whoa.
No, I think you're saying something different than I am. I think you misinterpreted what I'm saying with that. But like I'm talking about how early in the film he's talking about he's condescending to Bob and calling him like a poser because he's in love with a girl
Oh,
and shit. And it's like, oh look,
but didn't he take that back because he was like,
yeah, he did
yeah,
later, but
yeah, in that same scene though, he was like, "Oh, I'm just busting you, man." Like he was just upset that his friend was like kind of moving on without him, you know?
yeah. So that part's like how you interpret someone's emotions. I felt like no, he meant what he said. He's just he meant it and he doesn't. He's hurt. Like
Yeah,
that's how people talk. Yeah. So
but he later like ends up like discovering like that kind of emotional
and, like,
depth within himself.
as he's going to attack, like he sees them like sleeping together, and he's like, he pauses. He's like, okay. So and I really like that.
I
too.
actually did like that because
Yeah.
like it like stayed with
No, I love
the tone
that.
in the break, and then it was just like, you know, he was like, hey, this is
So I
Yeah.
might have might actually have feelings for her or something, like whatever he said. It was pretty great.
yeah. Although like it does just like it does just illustrate like how flawed his logic is, because it was like, you know, because he was like referring to the discussion with him and the hippie about like how things like go to order and then chaos, and
Yeah.
nature is order, and that this guy is like infringing on his territory. And I was like, ooh,
I don't
you would not get away with that at this time.
No,
by
but
saying that shit.
I don't think there's any point at this movie insists that you should agree with Steve-O and his ideologies, which is why this movie works so well. I think when like that's why its style works for me, for in general. Obviously, I've listed a lot of issues, but I think the appeal of this movie is seeing the world through this guy's eyes. It's not like he's supposed to be a particularly agreeable dude or anything like that.
I mean, I think at the beginning it comes off across as a bit preachy,
Huh.
just from the lack of, you know, challenge that he has on his views. But that only comes like, you know, in the latter half of the movie. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like it doesn't earn its label, but it can come across a bit as that. Like it's a tad preachy in the beginning, you know.
Sure. One of my last notes. The flashback at the end. What?
I just remember this other scene. Since you're at the end, I'm just gonna quickly say I love the scene when they go to Wyoming, and they're in the gas station, and like some lady is the religious lady.
Right.
Oh man, I love that fucking. Oh, also just I do love
666.
how Steve-O was like, no, one of them. Yeah, it was one of them that once they were like, yeah, but what about the Nazis? Like that's as pretty strong as it gets when it comes to Satan's army. Like when she's in the world didn't end then. And then the guy was just like, I mean, I want to say it's Satan's army is just a gathering of people. And Steve was like, what?
Yeah.
You what? That was exactly what oh my god. That's exactly what I want to do to like some people. But like, he didn't even do anything either. He just showed a 666 tattoo, and then they all got
You
fucking
mooned him.
Yeah, and they all got like offended, and then like the guy shoots after them.
Right.
Like he didn't even do anything. If anything, I was just I'm more just upset that they didn't get their comeuppance. But you know, I thought it was very funny.
Right. Yeah, I like that a lot too.
But at first, I was like, like the line about, you know, oh, where'd you get alcohol? Wyoming, where else? And then he stops and explains it. I was like, does that really need explanation? But we got that scene as a result, so like it's cool.
Sure.
But it just felt like it was padded out, you know?
Right. And yeah, on to the end after we get Bob's death and a little like wrap up, we get this flashback to when they were kids. And I thought this was a pretty sloppy attempt to show how they went from geeks to punks.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. Like the kids do not talk like that, first of all.
Yeah,
like,
I said
that
we're
is
supposed to
so bizarre.
yeah, we were supposed to believe that one day Bob was just like, hey man, everything we do is stupid.
This shit is stupid.
Everything we do is stupid and it sucks. Check out this Gen X song. And then from there on, their entire lives were different from from that day on.
Yeah, and then he was like, what is this? It's new. And then, if anything, like, I know, like, the movie was trying to be like, oh, Steve-O looks down because he's just like, oh, he just, like, experiences a new thing. If anything, the look on Steve-O's face reflects what I was thinking, just like, okay, what the fuck does that mean? Like,
right?
It's new. It's new.
Like, I just said, could have just cut this entirely. We didn't need that scene.
That's just not how kids talk either. Like, they just... the dialogue is written the exact same as how they would say it as adults.
I think you could recut this movie, just recut it, and I would enjoy it more. So that's cool.
Yeah. It doesn't that scene doesn't add anything to like about their character, or it doesn't progress the plot in any way. If you cut that scene out,
No,
it wouldn't make a difference.
We don't need the context for why they're punk rockers.
Well, it's already implied that they like that. That's what happened. And hell, I'm pretty sure in parts of the movie they already like had said that, like, or like you could have just established like, oh, Bob, like, yeah, I knew him since like we were kids, you know, and then one day we just got tired of all the shit, and then started to live. That's it. That's all you needed. You didn't need this like, it's just contrived bullshit, just padding it out.
All right. Kill the Poor in the credits. Yay, good song. Dead Kennedys. I do enjoy. Actually, that's my final thought. So if you want to give a final thought and rating, go for it, and then I'll do it.
Let's see. Yeah, I've got quite a bit of problems with this movie, though. And we've already went over them. That it's like very contrived. Another big problem is that I found it very difficult to follow, and that lots of and that's also like a product of its contrivance, because scenes just happen out of nowhere without rhyme or reason. Like they just happen just so we can get to a certain scenario.
Yeah,
and then. And lots of scenes happen out of order. It was genuinely difficult to be like, wait, when did this happen? Like we get like I was very confused with Bob being in the hospital. Right. It showed that as if it were a flashback, and then we get Bob at a party, which I guess is another flashback, and then we get him at the hospital. So I was like, wait, what order of events just happened?
Right.
It seemed like extremely incoherent.
I can see it.
And yeah, just a lot of things didn't really feel earned. Like when the cop showed up and a couple other areas, I definitely felt like, oh, this movie's trying to be Blues Brothers, isn't it? Yeah, with the cops and then the Nazis. As soon as I saw Nazis, I was like, oh no, it's trying to be Blues Brothers, isn't it?
Huh.
But yeah, and it doesn't really feel like there's any form of like progression of scenes logically.
Sure. I would agree.
Just kind of happen. I mean, there's some sense of that like near the end when we actually get an arc out of Steve-O. I'm not gonna say that the death feels earned, but I'm not saying it's unearned either.
Sure.
I'm slightly mixed on that. Like it just, this movie wants its cake and it's gonna eat it too. God damn it.
Matthew Lillard helped a lot with this movie.
Yeah, yeah. But his great performance at the end aside, when he did down the pills with the alcohol, I actually thought to myself, like when he did that, I was like, alcohol, really? Like, is that going to be good for him? But like, the girl just said it was just vitamins. So I was like, oh, since it's vitamins, he'll probably just like have bloody shit. He won't fucking die from it, but he did. He had to die because pills and alcohol. Any pills with alcohol don't mix, apparently. And that's, so I just find that hard. It's just not believable.
Right.
Like I find that like hard to swallow. And that's why getting details like how drugs affect people is important, and getting like, those kind of things like right.
All right.
If anything, it would have been more believable to have him die from, like drinking too much alcohol. I think having his liver fail from like partying too hard.
I don't know. So,
and then all of a sudden that like it could reflect that the lifestyle is what killed him, and that and that's why Steve-O needs to change. And that was like kind of subtly implied, but it was more just like, it's irony, right? Because he downed pills when he was against that shit. Ironic. So it just feels forced.
I don't know. I think I've got a different stance on this because I don't do drugs and I do love films. So I've noticed that people who have taken acid, who smoke all the time or whatever, see a drug being used in the film and they're like, that's not what it's like, and they like get really upset. And I'm just like, I mean, to me, it's as a viewer of this film, I'm not thinking that's what it's like. I'm thinking this is supposed to be like a visual experience.
Well, no, because it's inaccurate. That's the thing, like
right. But I don't have a problem with that.
Isn't gonna fucking make you want to kill your mother. Like that's what makes it contrived is the thing, That's
right.
like,
but I know that that's a joke. I know that that's comedy.
Right. But Bob dying isn't out of comedy. So then all of a sudden that inconsistency becomes a huge problem with the plot.
him taking
And literally all it could have done is that it could have just fixed it
they
by
must not be vitamins, right?
that, or that he could have just like drank too much and died. But no, we can't say alcohol bad. We have to say drugs bad.
I don't know that saying anything is bad as far as alcohol or drugs. I wouldn't say that it like
yeah, but it's still colloquialized that like, oh, drugs will fuck you up and blah
I
blah
wouldn't
blah.
say-
But alcohol wouldn't, you know.
I wouldn't say that it promotes drug use, but I would say that the like culture of punk that they're depicting absolutely does promote drug use. So like,
And that's fine.
so yeah.
But like, it just seems like a lot of movies like then kind of had this agenda where it was like, we can't say alcohol or smoking is bad. We have to have characters do it and have no repercussion. Like literally, like no, I don't think I've seen a movie where like, you know, I mean, okay, there are a few where like, you know, there are, you know, alcoholics,
Yeah.
but like that's played for laughs sometimes, most of the time.
Sure.
Like that's a fucking that's a scary thing, like genuinely, and it's just like it's a drinking problem that makes the character deep, right? Like it's just I don't know, it's contrived. Like it could have just done that; it would have been fucking fine. I feel like.
I did think Bob's dad was a bit of a lame entity in the movie as well. I mean, it gave a little something, but it didn't do. It wasn't built like. They decided Bob was a lot more important towards the end, and then had all the stuff happen to him at the end.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like it seemed like Bob was just kind of like a side character, and like they kind of just. I mean, though, like the emotional scene before that wasn't. I didn't feel like that was like all that contrived. Really, like it seemed like that was an issue that he's been thinking about, like given the lifestyle, like worrying about failing his father, like
Yep.
you know, deep down.
Yep.
It wasn't like a. He looked at Steve and was like, "Oh, you're my best friend," and all that shit. Like just to try to sell that idea more. So it didn't feel forced in that way.
Sure.
But he definitely wasn't, you know, a very forward, you know, character.
Sure.
Or he wasn't a very strong character. Yeah.
All right. Well, you want to wrap?
It could. I think it like the ending would have been fine, but it kind of just like it tripped over itself. And if it stuck the landing, it would have been, you know, much more impactful at the end.
Yeah, because that scene with Steve-O finding him dead again, I think it was acted well, and that's like, oh, he's gonna go off to college. You could have wrapped it up like that. You could have wrapped it up like that.
I mean,
What really blew the ending for me was just how quickly everything came together and happened, and the implied importance of the events was just kind of skimmed over. It didn't happen really like gradually throughout the movie. A lot of it happened at once, and then we get this sloppy flashback.
Yeah, even then, like what I just said, thinking about it, it still doesn't fix Bob's character. Like it fixes the ending, but it still doesn't give Bob a reason to exist.
Right.
You know, like he'll only exist to like be an arc for Steve-O.
Yeah.
He doesn't like progress the plot in any way of his own or anything.
Yeah.
Even though like
Right.
his dialogue and like ideologies can be like, you know, sound, he's just there. He's
Right.
just kind of like there for the character to talk to, and just
Sure.
it doesn't even create conflict. But even if he did, it could be control. I don't know. There's like a whole bunch of different things. Like yeah. I think I went over those.
Yeah.
All my issues with this movie. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
I went over everything. So yeah, whenever you're ready.
I like how it's labeled as romance.
That's kind of weird. That's funny.
Crime music.
It's a comedy mostly.
It's a comedy. Yeah, it's a comedy. Starring Fungo with the mohawk
Slightly dramedy maybe, but it's mostly a comedy.
and and Billy B. Armstrong. I don't know, like the bootleg Billy Joe Armstrong.
I get you.
Oh man. Oh, I love that. Also, I just love the gas station scene. I just remembered it again when they walk in and he's just like, "What the hell is that?"
Wait, who?
The old man behind the counter when they see him, he's like, "What the hell are you? We need to get you back to the hospital." Oh, we're from the UK. Oh, I guess that explains it.
Right. All right.
I don't know. I think the comedy was just done like really well in that scene in particular.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyway. Okay, we got our closing thoughts and problems out of the way. We talked about this movie enough. Honestly, when it comes to like a music, a movie that is strongly based around music with these with rebels without a cause, but that just care about music and bringing people together and shit, and have their own ideas with politics and all that, with that whole like subtext and everything. I'm trying to think of better words to describe them. Outcasts, outlaws, like all that.
Sure.
On the run and shit. With heavy emphasis on music. I'd prefer Blues Brothers.
Well, yeah.
Like the scenes have a logical progression there, and it earns the fucking chase scene at the end.
For me,
there's a reason for why the Blues Brothers are like really sought after. These guys are just kind of assholes. Like they don't really do anything outside of that.
I really don't think that this movie was trying to be Blues Brothers, but
no, yeah, but I'm just saying,
enough,
when we bring it down to that level, there's another movie that I thought of as well, like during this discussion, but I kind of forgot it. I think it was, I don't know. If I remember while you give your rating, I'll say it. But otherwise, I think it was very entertaining at the very least.
Right.
His rants, although can be preachy, were pretty fun to watch and listen to, and sometimes the shit that he says just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
The gas station scene's amazing. I love it.
Very watchable movie.
And there actually is some things there to grasp onto near the end, although not a lot, and it's definitely it could have done a lot better. So that all said, I'm feeling a light 6 on this one.
Cool.
And that is with my feelings involved. If I'm giving a robot rating, it's probably closer to a 5.
Right. Okay, cool. So I'll give my rating. Just wanted to mention that there is a sequel to this, and it doesn't look very good from Letterboxd ratings, but it came out in 2016. Same.
Oh yikes! Yeah, no.
Same director, completely different cast. Not completely.
Wow, this is starting to sound like Blues Brothers 2.
Not completely different cast, but it's yeah.
James,
Huh.
I think we have another podcast topic.
Blues Brothers 2?
Blues Brothers 2 and SLC Punk 2.
Oh, God.
Just shit.
Yeah,
just a massive amount. I refuse to watch Blues Brothers 2. Like, if you recommend it to me, I wouldn't watch it. I would just say I did, and then come on the pod and bullshit everything.
It's bad. Yeah.
It's just like, it's just so fucking awful. Like, they don't, like, it's not the same without Dan Aykroyd. No, wait. Without the other guy. No, Dan Aykroyd's there.
John Belushi.
Yeah, John Belushi. Like,
I almost said Jim Belushi. That's his brother.
They have a fucking kid there. It's like, who fucking cares? There you go. That's what that podcast would be like.
Yeah. So obviously, like, Steve-O and Bob aren't in that movie, so I don't really know. It looks like it wasn't good. Anyway, just I wanted to mention that here at the end.
Oh, I love also that the car was fucking floating after Mark tries to ditch it, and he's just like, "Sink, you fool!" And he shoots at the lake. I don't know why they pull him off the lake. Shooting the lake though. Like, what's he gonna fucking do?
No idea.
Like, yeah, he's making noise, but like the bullets are gonna run out. But it was funny.
All right. Final thoughts. I do enjoy this film, despite plenty of flaws I find with it. I'm happy it exists as someone who grew up on punk music and having an interest in the scene. I am supposed to love this movie, having grown up on punk. I'm supposed to forgive it, I feel like, for all this stuff and be like, this is the culture, man. 6 out of 10, I think.
Dude, I was with you. Just not with the music, and wasn't as hard, really. No, I was. I was pretty loud about it, just as Steve-O was.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of my younger self in Steve-O's character in this.
Right.
In this movie.
Well, I'm glad we agree. We're both giving it a 6.
That's a light 6, thank you.
Yeah, I don't.
It just barely.
I don't believe
passes
in lights and strongs on this podcast. Like, sometimes I'll say like, it would be a strong, but
I think I just need a better distinction.
It's just an extra subdivider. It might as well be like a rating out of 20 then, so you can give it,
I can
an 11.
I can.
Yeah. So
but then
an 11 out of 20 is what he's saying.
But then would that be a light 6 or a hard 5?
It would be between.
It's not between though.
Okay, so
it's
you got to subdivide into like 40 then, right? Or is it 30?
I have to go to 30.
Yeah. So.
But then there's like an extra number that's like kind of just missing, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So
I can just say the light and light, solid, and hard. So
yeah. I just say
lay off me. No, I'm kidding.
I just say the solid number, and it's a 6 from both of us as far as my spreadsheet's concerned. So cool. Let us now hit the lap button and get into what we're doing next week, because
well,
we won't be talking about recommendations next week.
no. So next week, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we do have recommendations also.
Yes,
but
that's going to come in 2 weeks. We're going to announce them here, but that's not coming in the next podcast.
The next one is going to be, you're announcing it because it was your choice this time.
Right. So this one next week, it's going to be an interesting podcast. It's going to be much more of a free-form discussion, which I thought this was going to be, but it wasn't. It turned out to be fine. So, but yeah. I'm glad about that.
I already forgot what it is, so you're just going to have to do this yourself.
I almost did forget what it was. We're doing a Nintendo Games Madness bracket. It's been quite a while since we've had one of those, and me myself, I am in quite the Nintendo phase.
You are. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm in less of one.
I even made a playlist, and I'm actually really proud of it.
Yeah,
of a bunch of Nintendo music, and you should. I mean, I'm gonna wreck you that.
You're wrecking me a game today, aren't you?
No, you're getting my playlist.
No, I'm not.
It's only an hour and a half.
Stop.
Listen to my playlist, please. Okay. Just do it for me anyway. But yeah, so that's what's gonna happen next week. What is it? What's that shit called?
What is what?
The things in the bracket. The actual games themselves.
Yeah, the brackets.
Yeah, that'll be announced. When we do that podcast,
yeah,
we're gonna
put one together.
Yeah, we'll put one together, see how big or like moderate it's gonna be.
And should we just disclose that we may
have a special guest joining us next week too, so that'll be something to look forward to.
Very much a may. Yeah,
it's a possibility. It's
just a friend if the schedule works out.
Yeah, and hopefully it will. I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, given that we've been working around each other's schedule lately and how busy things have, it's likely. But yeah, don't hold me too much to that statement.
Yeah, it might just be us.
Could happen.
But if he is here, then we'll have a tiebreaker. So
it'll be pretty cool. It'll be. I feel like a really good podcast, but it'll also be one of the longer ones. So
great.
I'm looking forward to that. All right, now for recommendations.
So
in 2 weeks,
we're talking about mine first next time. So I'm giving you yours first. You are giving me a game, right?
Yeah,
that's important. Okay.
Yeah, just give me your album, damn it.
Yes, I'm giving you an album, and
The Smiths Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Pop Cheerio.
That's not
Smiths. But bloody. What do you fuck is Tariff? It's Tariff.
Right.
The fuck does Tariff mean?
Yeah, you nailed it. You're getting the Smiths. No, I'm just kidding.
What else did he say in that part too? I thought that was really great.
Not sure, but I'm giving you an album that I'm hearkening back to my early days of being into musics and stuff. This time though, it's not like Blink-182
or Linkin
Park. It's something that is a bit more crazy and adult, I guess.
Crazy and adult.
I don't know.
Metallica.
That's a weird way to put it. No, I'm giving you System of a Down.
Oh, yeah, it's about time I got a System from a Down.
System from a Down. Yeah, I don't think you've ever listened to one of their albums all the way through.
Nope.
Maybe you have, but
nope.
You definitely know songs from this album because I'm giving you Toxicity.
Their big one.
The big one. I'm giving you the big one.
I'm looking forward to that. Gonna have some good music to listen to.
You absolutely do not.
Not like I don't when you give me album recs. It's just like I can look forward to this because like I know it's gonna be pretty good.
Oh, I look forward to all of yours. I look forward to seeing how I feel about it. So,
right.
We're talking about in 2 weeks. So I did save this for one that would be technically a jumbo just because I felt like you might need more than 3 listens, but maybe you won't. If you can get in like 4 or 5, listen to it as much as you think you need to. That's basically what I'm going to say.
I feel like 3 will be sufficient, but if I do need more, then I will. So
right.
No problem.
And you absolutely do not need to look at lyrics for this. So great.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've known this album since I was a chillin' child. Yeah. So now what are you giving me?
You're getting my playlist.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Shut
what
up.
are you telling me my rec is gonna be?
Stop.
You get my playlist. I gave you the link already.
No, you didn't. By the
Okay,
way.
yeah, you're getting a game. Okay, fuck. This is gonna.
This is exciting.
This is gonna be a weird matchup. Really weird, and I feel like mine is gonna take up the bulk of the discussion.
Okay.
But it's time.
Toxicity and a game.
Yeah, let's get down and dirty with it.
It's time. Wait. So this should be something that you've been telling me to play forever, or that you know that I like or don't like and haven't played. There's a reason you're.
It's time to get into it.
Minecraft.
No, no.
Okay.
Spider-Man for the PS4.
Oh, okay.
Play it. Finish it. Let's talk about it.
Okay. All right. Let's do it.
We're talking about Spider-Man again.
I'm down.
And then
I would not have played this if you didn't recommend it.
Exactly.
Thank you.
It's time you finish it.
So I might as well just go pick up that Miles Morales that comes with it.
Oh, that's true. Fuck off with that, Sony. Like, fuck you.
Cool.
I'm never pre-ordering anything again. Like, that game just showed me that I shouldn't. Like, no matter what, even if I fucking like, it's worth the price I paid for it. But like, it's just such a slap in the face to fans like me. So yeah. Anyway. So just do the main story. Do any side quests that you feel like doing. There's a lot. So
how long is the main story?
About 8 hours.
Oh, this is easy. Well,
okay, cool.
Is
Good
it
for
is
you?
it is it or is it going to be like?
It's between 8 and 10 hours. But like, there's no.
Can't be like a Portal situation.
And what? That you're gonna get stuck?
I'll take like 20 hours because I'm bad. Is that going to happen?
You can put the game on easy if you really want to.
Yay.
But like, I am gonna want to bring up the difficulty at some point too.
All right, cool.
So yeah, just do that. I mean, you could do like one of each of like the collectible things, like the bases or whatever, crimes and shit. It'll be worth talking about, but you don't need to do all of them. You don't need to complete the game by any means.
Cool.
But there are some side missions that are fairly like worthwhile. You don't need to do the DLC either.
Okay.
Any of the DLC, just the main story, beginning to finish. There's no, let's see, there's some breaks where it's like, oh, you can patrol around the city for a bit, but if you just wait around for like a minute or two, like you can just keep going with the main story.
Right.
And that'll be constantly progressing. So yeah,
cool.
There've been a few games that I wanted to give you. There's a couple that aren't open and shut, I guess.
We do talk about games every now and then.
Because here's the thing, like Minecraft can be open and shut. Like there's an end to the game.
Right.
But if you're not doing all the other things too, it's kind of a disservice.
I think we're going to start talking about games more as we keep going anyway.
Right.
For reasons you'll know soon enough.
Yeah, you've got a lot of time.
Yeah.
A lot more time for games, and I've got a few that I can just recommend that I know offhand.
Great.
It was between this and another one, and you might get that one in a bit in the future. Who knows? But yeah,
great.
That's going to make for a pretty diverse discussion. So
tune in next week for Nintendo Madness.
Yeah, that will be all for this week.
Whatever we decide will be, and tune in 2 weeks here. Toxicity and our thoughts on Toxicity and Spider-Man PS4. No, you meant PS1, didn't you? Shit.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's the better game. That's the better Spider-Man game.
All right, cool.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us and listening to us talk about movies.
That's that. All right. Yeah, let's blow out this candle.
Flip.